Welcome to Speed Vector, the podcast dedicated to the art, risk, and obsession of speed flying. I'm your host, Victor Garcia, speed flyer, skydiver, cinematographer, Navy veteran, and full-time gravity junkie. Every week, we dive into the lines we fly, the gear we trust, and the stories that push us past the ridge and into the void. Whether you're just learning to launch or chasing the perfect line, this is where speed flyers come to connect, learn, and stoke the fire. This is Speed Vector.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 14. My guest today is Ronan Campos. Ronan is a rad dude. He's a Level Wings team pilot. He's a Salt Lake City local, and he is a shredder. This dude on Instagram is named Rollin. That's his handle, and it is fitting. This dude likes to do barrel rolls a lot, and he does a lot of them. This episode was fun. We actually sat down twice to do this, and you'll tell. I mean, you'll be able to notice in the episode, but and we talk about it. But we did about an hour a few days ago, and then I had a time constraint. I had to leave, unfortunately. And then I was like, you know what? Like an hour isn't enough. So we ended up sitting back down again for another hour and a half and got a little bit more into the weeds. And it was a lot of fun. I'm glad that we got to come back and do kind of a part two for the same episode because it just, it was cut a little short the first time. But thankfully, it's not now. So I hope you enjoy. Like I said, follow him on Instagram at Ronan Rollin. And yeah, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Here we go. That's kind of how they roll.
Prime time barking.
Dude, it's like the mailman comes by, the UPS truck comes by. I haven't actually done a podcast at home in the last few weeks. So all the people listening have been spoiled because they haven't, or maybe deprived. They haven't been hearing my dogs in the background. So it's one of those things.
Where's the place you've been doing it at recently then?
2 episodes ago was on a boat in a harbor somewhere, and then this past one the other day was at Air Sports Chelan out there in Chelan, Washington, in Todd's hangar. So yeah, it's been kind of fun. Been pretty fun, like getting to travel a little bit for it. I mean, these guys are all my friends, but it's I think Chelan's 2.5 hours away, and the place we did the other one was like 2 hours away. So it's, a little bit of travel, not quite Europe, but, maybe someday.
Cool venues nonetheless, I'm sure.
For sure. Well, shoot, man. Ronan Campos.
Yeah.
Campos. Did I say that right?
Campos, anything works, honestly. Yeah, like I give the restaurants, I tell them Ron, R-O-N instead of Ronan. So anything works. I'm super flexible.
Anything works. Well, dude, I got to say, I'm very impressed with your flying abilities. Like, good Lord, dude. I remember I've been following on Instagram for a while, like before the podcast was a thing. And I was like, geez, man, this guy rips, dude. It's like, you're so like just nonchalant about it. Like, I've got to say that the part that impresses me the most, and it's kind of silly, at least because you're doing a lot more impressive things than this, but you don't let your wing touch the ground. Like you do throw and goes, and then you catch it before it deflates and lands on the ground, which is freaking cool. Like, tell me about that. Like, what's the deal with that? Because it seems to be the thing.
Yeah, shout out to Spencer Allen because he definitely got me into that. Yeah, with kind of the new releases of the R3X and the Fury X Lite, it's been a lot easier to do the throw and goes and to reel the wing back in. Obviously, you were able to do them historically, but you need a little bit more wind, and now it's like the perfect, and then just run with it. I really enjoy that. It's like a really satisfying thing for me to try and like have another piece of the puzzle in my flying. That's not necessarily like deeper, harder, faster. It's more of like a little bit of like artistic. So it's really sick to have like additional thing in my flying that doesn't have to be so pitted all the time.
Sure. Yeah. And it's cool. I mean, that's a good point. With the introduction of like the super lightweight wings, they do inflate a lot easier, and they're
Yeah.
so much easier to handle from like a ground handling perspective. Do you find with the R3X or the Fury Light that they overshoot if you inflate them too quickly, if you're like laying them out?
Yeah, so just from personal experiences, I'd say the R3X has a little bit less of those tendencies of overshooting whenever you like kind of run balls to the wall.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, the lighter weight seems to just have a little more inertia in the canopy, and
Sure.
yeah, it tends to shoot a little more, yaw a little more, be a little more unstable, and like where you want it to go, it has a little more energy there. So
Right.
just
Right.
from my perspective, I've been flying uh, majority of like the lightweight fabrics between R3X and Fury Max X Light, and I prefer the lightweight fabric just because a lot of our stuff is like hike and flies. And then I really enjoy doing like throw and goes and stuff like that. It's obviously not needed for it, but it does help a lot. Uh,
Sure.
and yeah, I love the lightweight fabric and the shorter lines. It's a huge plus.
Yeah, man, the shorter lines, I mean, that's a big deal. So I've got a Fizz, Level Wings Fizz,
Yeah,
10 meters. So, not my smallest wing, but still pretty small. And the line set on that thing is super short. Like it's really fun to fly because it's so short. Just compared to my 9 meter Rapidos, it's gotta be, I don't know what the difference in length is, but it feels like pretty significant. And then
yeah.
that obviously affects roll rate and everything, so
I
it's cool.
went from an 8 R3X to the Fury X Lite, and to have an already shortened line set on an R3X versus like the original R3, uh, and then to have an even shorter line set on the Fury was so satisfying. It was like I didn't even think I could get shorter than the 8 3X, and yeah, I definitely love a short pair of lines. It's really satisfying to like be about to inflate on launch and not a single line is touching the ground because everything
Yeah,
is like direct from your hands to the wing.
it's
It's
crazy. Yeah, and I mean that's with an 8 meter.
yeah, 8, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean small wing, but still like incredibly short lines.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I do like how Level is typically shorter with their line sets. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, even on their website they said something about like doing something about short lines and redefining small wings, and like the short line they were like the king of it super early on before Ozone ever got involved with short lines or any of the other manufacturers. They were always making like speed red specific wings with really short lines, so
Yeah.
just a little bit better at staying overhead and not causing that pendulum effect as much.
Super important with speed riding because especially if you are like actually skiing and then the wing is obviously over your head, there's a bit of lag, like when you're turning, and with the shorter lines that lag is gone. I mean that as long as you're giving an input, that wing stays right with you, which is really cool. The most of my flights with the Fizz 10 have been in a speed riding scenario, and I love how it just stays there. It's such an easy wing to fly. I mean that it is their like beginner introduction wing to speed riding, but at a 10-meter size it's still like quite capable. So
Yeah,
I didn't
and
feel like
what
it was
blows
a
me away
weekend
is
wing.
it blows me away they make it all the way down to an 8. I haven't had the chance to try a Fizz yet, but it's definitely an interesting wing.
Yeah, I mean pretty spicy foot launching it. Like I've done, man, 10 12 maybe foot launches with that thing, and like you need a steep launch to get going, and then the earth needs to like fall away from you because that thing is ground hungry, not in a bad way. I mean that's how they're designed, right? It's designed to speed ride, so you like
Yeah,
in theory you could just like keep going on skis, but when you're running your ass off trying to get off a launch, it's a little spooky. But dude, fun wing though, super fun. But anyway, dude, we got in the weeds right away. Please introduce yourself before we get too far into this. We're just
yeah,
straight into talking shop here.
yeah. Sorry, Ronan Campos, Ronan Rolling. I used to go by Speedy Boy because I had my account Speedy Boy Flight Log. That's actually how that account got started. Is I was just posting every single flight that I did. Like I had a thing where like I shouldn't value one flight more than the other. They're all sick. I'm flying regardless. So I was just blasting videos up, and I realized man, I just only post this. So I deleted my other personal account and stuck with what is now Ronan Rolling. And yeah, I really enjoy speed flying and obviously sharing that content with others. And it's been a fantastic kind of medium to do that because I suck at putting energy into like a product essentially. Like I've already created art in my mind. Like I've already done the flight. I've already had the fun. And obviously some people enjoy like the editing and the lining the music up with the videos, and it's all so stressful for me. So like to have a really easy medium of just turn the video sideways and upload it, it's pretty enjoyable. And then
Yeah.
like obviously on the days like I am in Miami on work, so I can just sit back and relax and enjoy comments and chat with people online, and I definitely enjoy that aspect of it.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you definitely like your videos speak for themselves. You know, you don't need to edit stuff because you are like ripping, dude. Like, I mean, it's impressive to watch. And I kind of wondered, I'm like, well, I don't know if you remember this, but I sent you a message like months ago and I was like, yo, dude, like you gotta like show the
Show my
launch
landings,
and the
yeah.
landing because like I'm just curious because it these lines that you would fly looked like there was just no place to go at the end of them. I'm like, where did you land? Like I'm just a nerd and I want to see all of it. You know, I realized in
Yeah,
this day and age, people have a short attention span and you kind of got to like pack it all into like 10 seconds or you're totally screwed, you know? I mean, if you want like
yeah.
audience retention or whatever, but obviously I'm into long form stuff because I do a podcast and, you know, I like 30-minute YouTube videos that talk about aerodynamics and that would put most people to sleep, you know, but that's just me. I mean, I'm not like a scientist, but I enjoy diving into the weeds on stuff that I am passionate about. So, but anyway, dude, uh, super impressive stuff for sure. Um, where's home for you?
I was gonna say another piece of the puzzle is I live in Salt Lake City, so I'm a Utah-based speed flyer. I've been here for the past 5 years. I came out here for college. That was a total lie. I only wanted to ride in the mountains as much as I could, and then I figured out about skydiving and went down the skydiving route for no more than like 150 jumps max. Like I couldn't have done more than that. I only did 6 months. By the time the winter season came around, I had been passing by Point of the Mountain, which is a super famous site in our area. And I was every single drive, I was like, man, I think these guys are doing it for free. How do I do that? Uh, so by the time the winter came around, I obviously was like, okay, I definitely need to figure out how to paraglide. And I never figured out how to paraglide. I figured out how to speed fly. So
Did you
it
go
came
through
with
the paraglide progression or did you just go straight to speed?
I on Facebook Marketplace bought a Phaser 12 for $600 because I thought that was
Nice.
a smart decision.
Nice. Great wing.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Hashtag phase out phasers,
Yes.
crappy wing.
I mean, in their prime, they were probably pretty good, but like compared to
Yeah,
what we have now, or even what we had just shortly after that, it's definitely
I
not
would
comparable.
foot launch a base rig before I flew a phaser again.
No, honestly, yeah. Then they're probably pretty similar.
Similar. Yep.
Yeah,
Similar
it's
for sure.
forever. Yeah, slowest pressurized or pressurizing wing I think ever. Like it's
Dude,
yeah.
literally just, I don't know. Little Cloud gives them a run for their money. So,
No, I've heard that. I haven't flown one, but I have heard that. No offense to the Little Cloud folks, but yeah, I've heard some things. I feel like with Little Cloud, like to go on a little quick tangent, it's like you have people that absolutely love them, that praise them, and that's all they fly. They're like, they like probably have a Little Cloud sheet, like
yeah.
on their bed, like a big poster or whatever on their
I
wall
was that guy, by the way.
for Little Cloud, really
I love, yeah, I owned three spear lines at one point, and I loved
nice.
them. And I
Super
soared
fun.
with them like every day. And now that I just have a little more preferences about like safety features and the quality of my own life, I tend to stray away from little clouds. So
Yeah,
I was definitely the guy who had the helmet stickers, was reaching out to them all the time, wanted to like get involved in stuff like that. And yeah,
sure.
glad that I transitioned away from that.
Yeah, I've kind of caught wind that there's been some issues lately. I don't know much about it, so I won't speak on it. But yeah, it's like either like you're all in Little Cloud, or you like have an
Yep.
opinion like what you're saying. It's like very cut and dry. There's no like middle ground with that with the people that fly those wings, which is funny. I will say they do have a really cool logo. I do dig the like cloud with the it's cool.
even on my helmet now, I keep a very minimal helmet because I don't like a bunch of stickers. But they had the Little Cloud logo with like the Little Cloud words under it, and I literally just cut the cloud. So now I have that cloud on my. It's
That's
sick.
cool.
I love it.
It's
Yeah.
it's probably one of the cooler logos I think in the sport. I mean, maybe the coolest to be honest, but it's obviously that the logo only goes so far. But yeah, dude. So I mean, your Salt Lake, like I lived there 10 years ago for I guess 2012 to like 2016, and I didn't take it for granted. I just wasn't flying yet. But dude, that place is like mecca for outdoor sports in general. Climbing, amazing. Skiing obviously speaks for itself. But the flying, I mean, you got the point of the mountain, which is obviously, like south side. That's where most people learn. It's also a really cool, like little mini ridge soaring site. North side's bigger flight, but still kind of same. Um, but then you venture out from there and you have arguably some of like the most beautiful lines that you can compare to most other countries like Europe, Switzerland. Like I was talking to you yesterday on the phone a little bit before this, and we were talking about Mount Superior and how like iconic that mountain is and how easily accessible it is, and how many lines are down that thing that are just ridiculous. I mean, what's it like? What is it like living in a place where you have to decide where you want to fly that day because you could probably fly like 30 different freaking sites? What's that like?
It's yeah. It's funny you bring this up because there's pretty much like there's the pilots who try and decide what they're going to do the night before, and they're always wrong. And the forecast whenever you wake up is always changed for whatever reason. And then there is the pilots who wake up in the morning and they sit there and debate for 30, 45 minutes. So we could go here, 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 or here. The winds all line up for like these 4 or 5 places. I definitely fit into the category of like, I wake up in the morning and I sit there and I procrastinate trying to figure out which one I want to go to. We do have quite a number of flights that work for quite a number of different conditions. So it's definitely fun to try and figure it out. And like, we definitely have like ranges of flights. Like every single day I could pretty much go and do like a really intense pitted flight, or I can choose to do a less intense, like more chill, just kind of relax. And I really enjoy having those options of like, I want to wake up early and I still want to go fly, but man, I don't feel like I'm 100% right now. I feel like I'm 75. So I'm going to go do, a chill face flight. Like we have the canyon flights and then the face flights. So usually we'll kind of fall back on some face flights whenever you aren't feeling the top notch. But yeah, it's fantastic to have so many options and such big, iconic, crazy lines. And then still lines that we're still discovering today, like, scouring Google Earth, taking hikes during odd hours or like days that aren't flyable to just try and find different stuff. So there's definitely a lot going on in Utah. It's every single day, like up and down the Wasatch, pretty much you can fly 360 of the 365 days of the year.
That's amazing. Yeah, you just find the right, aspect for the wind
The right
direction.
pocket. Yeah. We call it window shopping. I'm sure other pilots and other areas have the same terminology, but we unfortunately don't have the lifts to kind of be a little more optimistic about that because we obviously have to put in all the effort ourselves as far as hiking up, and if it's bad, hiking down, which is the real killer. The hike up is not bad. I love it. It's actually really like therapeutic for me, just spending time with my friends in nature and like talking about different canopies and different ideas and different lines and stuff like that. The hikes down on the off day that it does have to happen, typically we're on like some heinous mountain that took us 2 hours to get up or whatever, and we're like, oh, we gotta hike down this? Who signed up for this? What?
Right. Yeah.
But it definitely keeps Utah interesting. Like having been to Europe just recently, I was there and I was like almost beside myself because I realized I left an equivalent amount of fun, an equivalent amount of like freedom and stuff. I didn't really gain anything by going to Europe other than lift laps, which is sick in its own front. But I feel like Utah is just so dense with culture and fun and speed flying. It's second to none in my opinion.
Definitely. I mean, Europe might have more grass on their mountains. Like the Wasatch Range is like the Rocky Mountains times, 10. I mean, there's a lot of rocks in the Wasatch. That's the only thing, like, but that's also what makes them so tall and beautiful, I mean, they're very like, they're like bold. I mean, it's kind of like looking at, I'm not a geologist, but I think that rock is probably younger, than a lot of places, just because it's so like jagged, and like the mountains are so, I mean, they have big bases, but it's not like, like I can see Mount Rainier from my backyard. Like it's fairly far away, but it's close. It's like I can see it, huge mountain, really old mountain, like massive
Yeah.
base, it would take a long time to drive around the whole thing. I mean,
Yeah.
there's people that run around it, and it's like 93 miles. Like there's like a trail that connects, so it's huge. Um, in the Wasatch, like you don't see a mountain with that big of a base. They're just really tall. I mean, it's amazing, So
Yeah.
lots of good
Our
speed bumps.
range, the whole entire Wasatch range, to my understanding at least, and this is based on a night that I got, you know, I was up really late watching some geography, like deep dive on YouTube, and I was down the rabbit's hole. But to my understanding, the Utah range is like two parallel plates that one is getting pushed up on the other one. So
Mm.
it's making a very long range and less of like a base of a mountain, more of like a ridge line essentially.
Right. It's growing
But
up,
yeah,
not out. Yeah. Right.
I'm really not sure. It's something that I wish I knew better, like the geography of Utah. Like I looked into a little bit about the Uintas and how those were formed because the Uintas are perpendicular to all of the other mountain ranges in Utah.
Right.
And for me, that was like, why are all of these other mountains going, north south,
Exactly.
and all of a
Right.
sudden you have a random mountain range going east west.
That's a good point.
Uh,
Yeah, it is a good point. And those are more like rounded out mountains too. They don't have like the jagged peaks that the
they're not
Wasatch
jagged at
has.
all. Yeah,
Right.
it's
Right.
very much like rounded out, kind of like more desolate area. I'd say the Utah, like the Wasatch specifically, has a lot of trees, which is what makes our lines pretty hazardous. Like
Mm.
all of my close calls, accidents, whatever you might be, have been the result of like a miscalculation with my wingtips. It's never been like I've
Sure.
miscalculated the bottom of the gully. Like I would say the wingtips are probably our biggest hazard for the Wasatch. Is we have a lot of like dense trees that will catch you and pull you in if you get caught on them.
For sure. Yeah. We have that issue out here too. It's like the land. I mean, it's what is it, like the pine tree state or something? I think Washington is. It's like it's pretty hard to find a spot that doesn't have like, a forest of massive 100-foot pines. So, I mean, I guess where I live, it's less of that. It's more of a desert, like a high desert. But yeah, as soon as you go like west, like you go, on the other side of the mountains where, a lot of people fly, it's predominantly like enormous trees. So I totally get that. It's definitely wingtip hazards for sure.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
sure. Which we're
Keep seeing.
seeing more of with like, the mustache and with the line and stuff. People are flying those in a similar manner that you'd be flying like an 8 meter, speed wing. And they're just not accounting for like the extra width of the wing because they are significantly bigger
Yeah,
in the same size, just like higher aspect ratio, I guess, or lower aspect ratio. I don't know. But yeah.
yeah. I'd say all of my, for whatever reason, I swap canopies a lot between different models and sizes of canopies, just depending on conditions and my goals for the day. And all of the times that I've had close calls, accidents, whatever, it's been swapping between canopies and forgetting or like overlooking the fact that I just increased my wingtip span by X amount. And obviously, I'm flying a mustache, I keep it in mind, but you really, I feel like, have to get in tune with the wing for a while before you know exactly where the tips are at.
Sure.
Or at least that's just something that I struggle with. Is my tips are the one things that I have to be the most diligent about.
Right. And I mean, I'm with you. It's fun to, it's, I look at it like skiing. You don't have one pair of skis for the entire winter. You've got a pair of really fat skis for PAL days. You've got a pair of skinny skis for like hard pack days. And then you have like your everyday kind of cruiser that's like not good at either, but it can do both. I like
Yeah,
the idea of having a wing for like the site and the conditions. So, but there's a detriment to that, right? Because if you are constantly flying a different wing, you never fully learn the one that you're on.
yeah,
But it keeps it interesting. It keeps it fun. I'm like too ADHD, I think, for a single wing, or I just want to fly more and like or like you said, you know, you're not always feeling 100%. So maybe you don't want to fly your 8 meter. Maybe you want to fly a 12 meter or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's pros and cons, right? It just depends on, being aware, I guess, of like that it's going to be different. I mean, that's kind of goes, it's kind of a no brainer, right? But I totally get what you're saying. It's really easy to overlook the, you know, just something small like your wingtips, and you know, you're flying tight lines. It becomes a factor pretty quick. But
Yeah. The margins that I deal with as well as all of the other, pilots in Salt Lake, because I feel like we have a pretty dense population of semi decent pilots. The margins that we deal with are honestly like stressful. Like from a outside perspective, like it does not look reasonable. From an inside perspective, bro, whenever you're flying the line or like whenever it makes a little more sense. But like from an outside perspective, especially dealing with all of the recent incidents and accidents and fatalities, I'm definitely reevaluating my margins on
oops.
all aspects of flight, whether it be wingtips or my ass on the deck or whatever it may be.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So that actually is like a nice segue. So you started speed flying in Salt Lake, and obviously, like you said, you were very humble about it there. But to say that, let's say that there's a high density of decent pilots in Salt Lake is a massive understatement. You have a high density of very high level pilots there, and it's incredible. So, like, how did you? I mean, and I'm assuming you roll with these guys and gals, but like, how when you first started, how did you like? A, what was your progression? And then B, like, when did you start flying with these guys that are like really well known, like yourself now?
Yeah. Yeah. So my progression was came from background of skydiving. I was not a super integrated skydiver. I hadn't really had the opportunity to build a lot of bad habits, but I still had the opportunity to build some bad habits. I came over. I did not do it the way that I would recommend. I just bought a wing and started hucking myself off Southside, which works and it's great until you get a little more eager for more. I ended up starting throwing myself off Northside. I misjudged like the crosswind and took it tail and ended up like on the mountainside cartwheeling through my risers. And that was like my first, incident, accident, anything of the above. And it kind of just progressed from there as like, young 18, 19-year-old kid, really freaking eager to just get out there and fly all the time. And I had 9 lives at the time, bro. I swear, like I could get
Most,
up
most
from
18
a
year olds do.
train hitting me. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was insane. I did get up from literally, like, quite literally, what I would imagine was the impact of the train.
Wow.
Yeah, so started with the 12 phaser, realized that was a really bad idea. Got a 16 Firefly. Loved that because I opened up my soaring, which I love soaring. I hate soaring at Northside, which is really weird. I just don't enjoy it. It's a lot of altitude. There's a lot of like high energy maneuvers, and there's a lot of pilots. And sometimes they'll get behind you. Sometimes they'll be in places that you don't expect them, beneath you, like weird places.
Sure.
Um, uh, yeah, so I really enjoy soaring Southside a lot because it's like the playground for me.
Yeah.
I get to do. I treat it like a dune. It's so fun. It's one of the most satisfying things ever. But my 16 Dragonfly kind of opened that up for me. Uh, Man, I want to say I went to an 11 or 3X after that. I spent quite a while on a 16, and I was flying in stronger and stronger winds, and I downsized all the way down to a 9 meter soaring. So I was doing a few mountain flights on my 11, trying barrel rolls and stuff like that. But the majority of my mountain flights at the time were on my 9 meter, where I was still trying to figure things out. And I obviously made the really big mistake of downsizing and progressing in my soaring category and thinking that because I could soar a 9 on Southside, that I could soar a 9 or fly a 9 down a mountain.
Right.
Uh, yeah, I had a wide range of injuries, a lot of close calls and accidents that I got lucky from that I didn't have any injuries. Yeah, and then once I got an 8 R3X, that's kind of whenever I felt like I was at a point where I was confident in my own abilities. I started going out and opening up new lines. That's when I would say I started to gain a little bit of a better reputation in the Salt Lake area. My original reputation was crazy teenager who's going to get himself killed. And now it's crazy teenager who might get himself killed. So I think with that, me being in that might category and just being a little more open to proper mentorship, that's when a lot of the really top dog pilots in the area were more okay with inviting me on flights, and I would see him more often, just like in passing and stuff like that. And then now I'm really grateful that these are guys that I call my best friends, like literally my best friends. There's nothing that I would fall down on a knife for some of them, like fantastic people, fantastic pilots. I really respect and admire a lot of them for not only their piloting, but mostly their mentality. And like, for a pilot to get into like that legend status, or like essentially like a pilot who goes down in history, I think is not a pilot who does crazy lines or like pushes the sport in a gnarly way. I honestly think it's just a pilot who has been at it for the longest and has made a lot of great decisions and has continued to make a lot of great decisions. So there's quite a number of pilots in the Salt Lake area, and I think he would be mad if I said his name, but yeah, there's quite a lot of pilots in the Salt Lake area that kind of emulate those morals. And I love being around that, because whenever I got into the sport, I didn't have those morals of like, there's always tomorrow, or if there's a little bit off wind, it's not worth it. Like when I was getting into it, I just didn't have that mentality about it because I didn't feel like I was fragile. So being able to be surrounded by those kinds of people I think took my piloting to a whole nother level. Sure.
Yeah. And I mean, that's something that I think is learned over time. For me, I mean, coming from skydiving, and then before that, I was flying airplanes and stuff a little bit. I've got like, nothing crazy, like 180 hours or something flying small planes, just from like my, teen years up, because my dad was a pilot and stuff. It's a whole long story I won't go into, but what was drilled into my head over and over again is that, one thing is there's old pilots and bold pilots, but there's no old bold pilots. That one's kind of funny, but the one that really resonated with me is it's better to be on the ground wishing you were in the air than in the air wishing you were on the ground.
By the way,
and what does that come from?
That one never resonated for me until I was in the air wishing I was on the ground. And like being able to remember that feeling of like, I'm going to die because I'm in such bad turbulence was like, very, very, a very important feeling for me to remember is a thing.
Yes. And honestly, it's worth noting, like for people that are listening to this, that haven't experienced that feeling yet, I hope you do. And I hope and you get out of it okay. And because then you'll understand what we're saying. It's like, it is a very isolating, terrifying feeling when you're in the air and you're like, I'm an idiot. Like, how am I getting myself really out of this?
Yeah.
You just you just feel small. It makes you feel like you were on Mars by yourself.
Yeah. I would say it's comparable to like being in a little sailboat and like the ocean is raging, like 20-foot tall waves coming over you. Like, I mean, you really are in that. Like if I like to think about, like, what if I could see the wind? Like, what if I could just see all of the wind? Well, I'm pretty sure it would look like an ocean, and I'd be shitting my pants, bro.
A lot less people would go in the air. Like, I mean, how many people do you think are afraid of the ocean more than they're afraid of like the air? Like most people that don't fly or whatever, don't do air sports, don't even think about the air, right? Like you might catch a commercial flight every now and then, but statistically you're going to be fine. So nobody thinks about it. I mean, some have a little anxiety, sure. But yeah, I mean, dude, it's like the thing that the ocean has that we don't have, like, sailors, surfers, whatever, like water sports, is like, if it looks freaking scary, dude, and you don't feel it, you just don't go out. Like, it's simple,
Yeah.
But, and there are indicators, of course, with air sports of like, when the air is complete junk. Like, you'd have to be, in a sealed box that's blacked out to not, pick up on stuff, right? But sometimes it looks fine and it's not. like, take Point of the Mountain, for example. If the wind is coming up over the back and it's strong enough and it's creating like a rotor effect, you could have, in theory, a perfect headwind coming up the south face when it actually it's just rotor. Which, if you're staying close to the face, you're fine. But if you were to fly out, and you would totally like feel the wrath of that rotor, like basically like downward moving air that's then cycling back up, right? So there's stuff that you can't see even when you're looking for it. That's keeps me up at night sometimes. But then there's also having the ability to take a step back and take the emotion out of it and be like, you know what, like I really want to fly right now, but it just doesn't feel right. So I'm just not going to. I can't tell you why it doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. So I'm not going to fly right now. You wait 10 minutes, you wait a day, you wait a week, whatever it is, and then things are fine and you're good. You just continue on. I think to have that discipline is like vital to these sports, just because, like you said, you launch in some garbage wind, and then all of a sudden you're up there like, well, this sucks. Like this totally took the fun out of all of this. Now I have to survive, so.
It's not a fun situation to be in. Like emotions wise, it really makes you question yourself, like your decisions and like why I would actually do that and put myself in that situation. So
For sure. Yeah. But a big part of these sports too, especially speed flying, is it's not always perfect, So it makes the days that are perfect or marginally perfect so much better, because you're like, oh man, like, yeah, this is perfect, right? If it was always good, then we would just take it for granted. If it was a POW day every day, you wouldn't appreciate POW. If it was calm wind every day and perfect conditions, you wouldn't appreciate it as much, because it's just like, you might as well be doing some sport on the ground at that point, So
yeah.
I don't
One
know.
thing I notice is like on the perfect no win days where it's like not unheard of, but it's doesn't come as often as I would like. I almost feel like a pressure to perform. Like if I don't take advantage of these good days, I'm going to be sitting and wanting to fly on the bad days. And I've been a lot better since accidents in the past year and a half to just literally, if I don't feel like it, I just don't fly. Like there's nothing against that. I'm not anything less than anybody else. I'm not like, I just can't like, man, I wasn't flying for 18 years of my life. I can deal with a day. It's not that big of a
Right.
deal.
Do you find it difficult if you're with a group, like let's say with like your mentors or guys you look up to, that are your friends, if they're comfortable with it, but you have something that's making you uncomfortable, whether it's something tangible like you can pinpoint or just like a gut feeling? Do you find it difficult to not fly and hike down in those scenarios?
So a good example was actually a mate of mine hiked up with code P12 and ended up soaring on the face that me and my other buddy were walking up with our 6 meters, and it was like there was no real reason why we shouldn't have launched and like flown, other than we just didn't have a great feeling about it. Like the conditions were just a little bit too much. It was like we could probably cut through it, but we'll never really know until we get into the air. And
Right.
like in a situation like that, where I'm watching my buddies fly, and I was sitting there with another mate of mine who we were able to make the decision together. Um, but man, him and I are kind of on the same page about like I would put in 10 times more effort to safely get down this mountain than to just take a survival flight down. So that's kind of the decision we came to on that one. I would say personally, uh, it ebbs and flows because there's some situations where I'm a bit of a pussy and I like to like be hesitant, even though I have no reason to. And then all of my buddies will go out and they'll fly on a day that I didn't think the conditions were gonna get better, and they do end up better. Um, but yeah, usually whenever I'm up on a mountain, I'm trying to make the best decision for myself. But I definitely take everyone else's, whether they fly or they don't fly. All of that kind of goes into my own decision making, just because I get a lot of feedback from the pilots that I spend my time with, and we all just kind of like bounce ideas off each other. Like, what if we went this way and wrapped around, or the wind's kind of iffy for that. Let's try this or that, or
Right.
another idea, or maybe we just hike down a little bit. But yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
a point that you were making about wind rotering over the back. I wanted to comment on this because this is another thing that I actually really appreciate is in Salt Lake, not all of our launches are on the summit. Some of them are like 500 feet or, a couple hundred feet below the summit. And whenever I was first getting into flying, I would just get up to the launch and I'd be like, oh, it's game time. It's golden. Everything's perfect. And I didn't realize if I hiked another 500 feet, I would feel this very nice tailwind coming right at me.
Right.
I was just in the wind shadow of, right? So obviously, like, just getting as much information you can about everything that's happening around you. Like, obviously, you're flying down this line, but if something's whack is going on in the next canyon over, it very easily can kind of come and give you a bad day.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's a huge component to these sports that is like being a bit of a weatherman,
I love that, though. It's like my day is totally based on the weather. What the weather is doing is what dictates my whole entire day.
Yeah.
Other than work, but I love that. I love that I don't have to make decisions. I just check the weather and then I have to make decisions. But yeah, I love it.
Right. It kind of makes it for you to a certain extent, for sure. Yeah.
If it's strong south, I know I'm on south side. And like literally my friends, they don't even have to text me. They look at the weather. They know where I'm at. It's awesome.
Right. Yeah, that's so cool. That is cool. So where is that? I guess where's your favorite place to fly around Salt Lake? Would you say Southside?
Just depends on what the goal is, bro, and what I'm feeling. Because like, I definitely have like lines that I really enjoy, and I would say that just depends on like sometimes I burn myself out of like some of our summer lines. But yeah, I would say Southside is definitely my favorite soaring site, like by far for sure. And then any of the tall peaks in Wasatch are so fun. We have a camping spot that we go to every weekend that we just like camp and fly, and we land at our campsite. So that's probably a highlight. But yeah, there's some really fantastic flights that are like almost hard to get back up on because there's so many other fantastic flights in the area. Like Crows is an example that I can think of. Is I opened that line a few years ago, and
where is that?
Haven't really. It's like right above Provo area. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, it's just right above the Provo area. But it's a south-facing line that is kind of a little more difficult to get the good weather for because usually it's coming in from the west on that mountain. But on the days that it's perfect conditions for it, usually I'll go up into Little Cottonwood Canyon and fly up there. When I would rather take the extra 30 minutes to drive down south and probably go do that line.
Sure.
But we just have so many fantastic options.
Is that the one that you fly over the BYU sign, or is that different?
We call that one the Y because you fly over the Y.
I see.
But it's Y Summit. Crows is further up and back in that area. It's it's a big proper canyon line, like very visual. It starts with like kind of rolling rock terrain, like pretty like mellow flat, and then it opens up into a super deep cutted gully, and it has this really cool banking turn at the end that's like super satisfying to hit.
That's
I can definitely send you a video of it, but I'm sure you've seen a couple lines of it.
I probably have. I just didn't realize what I was looking.
Yeah. No, it's hard, bro. There's so many lines, so many things. I love deep diving on people's profiles and stuff like that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I miss Salt Lake. Like I wasn't a pilot then, but I was a skier. And I used to like do a lot of backcountry stuff, and I remember like seeing tracks on Mount Superior actually specifically that I was just like, man, like that didn't. This is like 2012, so kind of earlier days in the sport, and I was like, who skied that? Like that doesn't make any sense. I think in my mind's eye, it's been like 13 years, but bunch of concussions since then too. So forgive me, but I think it was like this spine that's above Suicide Chute. So it's like looker's left if you're looking up at it. And it's like a huge cliff, but the cliff isn't sheer. So I'm like, well, you couldn't ski base that. And it's like a huge cliff. So you're not jumping off of it for sure.
Yeah.
And I saw tracks above it and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And then someone I worked with across the street was like, that's a speed rider that did that. And I was like, speed riding, what is that? So, and this is like early days, relatively. So it's like, there wasn't a ton of information.
I mean, the phaser was just out at the time.
Right. Yeah. I mean, dude, who knows? Who freaking knows who did that and what they were flying? But it was probably one of the GoPro guys or, Red Bull guys or whatever. But
Probably Bridger Hendrickson. Yeah, I don't
probably,
know. I really don't know. But Arash is another person that might have done it. But yeah,
early days, dude, back in the Stone
super
Age,
early days.
15
Yeah.
years ago, 2012. But yeah, man. So, yeah, I mean, it's such a dream spot. I definitely need to get out there and roll with you guys a bit. Hopefully next year, we'll see if I can swing it. But um, I wanted to ask you. So are are you sponsored by Level Wings? Is that that's the
Yeah,
sponsor? It's cool.
yeah, sponsored team pilot. Yeah,
Nice. How
I
did you? If you want to talk about it, if you don't, it's fine. But I'm always curious. Like, what is what path did you take to become a Level Wings athlete? Like what was your? How did you get your foot in that
um
door?
yeah. So like, it's still pretty surreal to me because I didn't really think that this was going to actualize as quickly as it did. But probably like a year and a half, maybe a year ago, and I set a goal for myself to like become a sponsored pilot. It was just like a pretty generic, large scale goal. And then I had a couple other goals that I wanted to start whenever that happened. And I guess Level Wings enjoyed the content that I was putting out on my Instagram. And they reached out to me and they were like, hey, would you be curious in being a team pilot? And then I pretty much threw my phone like across the room because I was like, holy fuck. Uh, so yeah, I think I remember I like threw my phone on the couch and I just screamed for like a long time. I ran over to my roommate and I barged into his room and I'm pretty sure he was like in his underwear on his laptop or whatever. And I was just like, ah! But yeah, it was definitely like, I mean, I remember like before I speed flew, before I got my Phaser 12, I was watching Jeff Katz's videos on that old like Hulk color R3 that was like
Yeah,
green, purple, and green with
yeah, I
the
know what you're talking
logo.
about. Yeah,
And I was watching some of those with my buddy, and I was like, "This is gonna be us one day. Like we are gonna like." And I was like totally bullshitting myself. Right? I was like, "I'll never be like as sick doing all these things, whatever." So yeah, I definitely feel like not that I don't deserve it, but I feel like it's a little quick for what I in like my mind's eye, and the plan that I made for my whole life. I feel like I kind of accomplished one of my bigger goals pretty early on. So I definitely have like got to figure out what my goals are next. I told myself I was gonna kind of like invest a little more time into relationships after I got sponsored, thinking it was gonna be like 5 years out, and
right.
now I feel a little dishonest to myself because I'm still not quite ready to like invest time into that because I love flying. And anytime that I'm not flying, I need to be working or spending it with my dogs. So yeah,
Right.
it's definitely a very interesting thing in my life right now, and I love it. And there's no change, which is the best. There's literally no change to my life or my flying or anything. I fly Level Wings. I did before. I love their wings. Yeah, there's a little bit some quirky things that I have to like let people know before they try them out. But
Sure.
aside from that, I really do enjoy the opportunity that I've been given for sure.
That's cool, man. Yeah. And I mean, dude, your flying speaks for itself. So like it's not surprising at all. Right. I mean, you like I said, and I'm not just blowing smoke, like you're impressive. Like the stuff that you do is pretty cool. And I watch a crap ton of speed fly videos, especially in the last 3 months. I've been on the couch and I'm like, yeah, Ronan's pretty freaking good, dude. like I mean, I don't know. Like it's do you keep a logbook? Like do you like do you keep track of all your flights? How many flights do you have? Do you know? I mean, do you have
No,
any
no
idea?
idea.
No?
No idea. I wish, but it's something that yeah, yeah. No, it's not
No.
something that I keep track of. It's one of the reasons why I got out of skydiving is because like I just really want to enjoy it. I don't want it to be about numbers. I don't want it to be about like I'm this good because I've had this much. I just
Right.
really enjoy like the flying aspect of it.
Yeah, and that I've talked about this before on previous episodes, but there is a really stark contrast between skydiving and speed flying and base and all these like more free sports. And I don't mean free like
Yeah,
monetarily. I mean like you don't have a governing body overseeing it, right? Because in skydiving, you got to be at an airport, you got to take a plane, the FAA is involved. You need special permissions and all this crap, right? Which is taken care of. That's taken care of for you by like the DZO and stuff. But the cool thing about speed flying is like, you know, at some point in the past,
my femur is my choice.
Exactly. Like you're making all the decisions. You're hiking the line.
I hate to say it, but my femur is my choice, bro.
Dude, I mean, for sure. Was it Only Swoopers? Have you heard of that little company, little like Instagram startup? Have you ever seen
No, I
that?
haven't.
Oh, dude, it's hilarious. You gotta look up Only Swoopers on Instagram. It's like I don't know the dude, but I've talked to him a handful of times, and dude, he's pretty brilliant. It started out with just like a Instagram page, and then he started making stickers. People were stoked, so he started making like, you know, t-shirts
and stuff.
And then he started making like skydiving jerseys. I actually have one. It's somewhere behind me. It's sick. And then he like sponsors people, but it's not a sponsor. He just like sends you a sticker and like a little letter, and it's, dude, the whole thing is comedy. But it's awesome, and it's all about like people femoring, you know. I mean, it's like bad, but it's so funny. Now he's like making underwear and stuff. Like the dude's a clown, like in the best of ways. He's so funny, right? But yeah, check that out. I'm shouting him out right now. Only Swoopers.
Yeah, that's definitely something I'll look into. The whole entire reason why I went to go skydive was so I could swoop. Like in AFF, they asked like, "What are you here for?" Some of the guys were like, "I want a wingsuit." Other guys were like, "I want to fly my body." I was like, "I want to fly a freaking parachute as fast as I can at the ground." And they were like, "All right, you're gonna get hurt, so we're gonna put you on a 150 for like the first 100 jumps," which was understandable. But when I'm 130 pounds on a good day, I was not having any fun. So I definitely enjoy my small high performance wings. They keep me excited.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to like compare because I can probably out swoop like my, like, you know, 120, my Katana 120 or whatever, with like a 13 meter, you know, 2RS, with like way less of a turn. But you know, to get to the point in skydiving where you're flying a canopy that, like, you know, matches what you're trying to feel, like what you were just talking about, it takes a freaking long time, and it's not a cheap sport, you know. I mean, my rig, I had, you know, pretty much custom made. It was like $10,000 just for the rig. And that's not even, you know, we're not even talking about parachutes. We're not talking about, you know, your main or your reserve. Like, and I'm not knocking skydiving.
And
I mean,
just getting to the amount of jumps that you want to be able to do these high performance moves and stuff like that was like, I'm not signing up for this. Well, I did sign up for it, but I regret it. So I even got I even got my stupid little A number tattooed on myself.
Did you really? What's
I
was
the
license number?
It's 103800, and I'll never forget that because it's tattooed on my leg.
That's funny.
I don't even skydive. I didn't skydive for more than like 6 months.
Bro, I can't judge that, although that's funny because it changes as soon as you get your B and your C and your D, you know, like I don't know.
Oh, I was gonna stack them. I was gonna do them all.
Oh,
I was gonna do a row.
And
then I got my B license. I was like, I'm not gonna pay the money. I got the license. Why do I need to pay for the number? I don't know if you knew that, but like,
yeah, no, I do.
You can get the license, but you have to pay for the number. I was like, I'm a broke skydiver. I can't pay for this.
I'm like, you know, lift tickets or get your B license. I don't know, man. It's like, it's up to you. You know, the world is yours. But right? Yeah, it's tough. I found the only way to really progress in that sport was to work in the industry, unless you had like deep pockets, or you just didn't jump that much, right? But I wanted to jump every day, and I got out of the Navy, so I got a job at a DZ because I'm like, I want to jump every day. The funny thing about that is it still costs money to jump. Like, unless you're getting paid to jump, like you're a TI or you're a Camofly or an AFFI or whatever, which takes a long time to get, you are, you know, I think mine went from like $32 a load to $17 a load, which, you know, it's like two loads for one. But you know, you do 10 and
you're also working, so
you're working. Not jumping as much. I was able to jump quite a bit, but even still, it was like, you know, 10 jumps is $170 before tax.
Skydive Utah was like, if you wanted to be a packer, which is what I tried, like, and I was not good at it at all. They kicked me out pretty early. Like obviously I made the parachutes flyable, but I just wasn't fast with it. I wasn't like bringing in money or whatever. I only got like a last load jump pretty much.
Right, sure. You know, yeah.
All like one a day. To be packed all the time. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Packing is, especially packing tandems, is an art. It takes time. It's like, I'd say like 100 pack jobs, you probably are like decent. But then, you don't really get good at it until you get to like 1,000. It takes a long time and it's hard
Yeah.
work. It's hard work. I
Dude, I
don't
was
knock
sweating
Packers because,
balls.
dude, like, yeah,
Sweating
fingers,
balls.
backs, knees, like your neck, everything hurts. Like, it's a tough job. Yeah. Thank your Packers. This isn't a skydiving podcast and I don't really jump anymore. But thank your
Go
Packers.
thank your Packers.
Yeah. Pack your own freaking parachutes.
Yeah, for
That's the
real.
name of the
Learn
game.
something, eh?
Oh, well, dude, unfortunately I'm kind of running out of time today, but I definitely I see having you on more for sure. I think you've got probably a million stories to tell. I definitely want to dive into some of the accidents that you were talking about earlier that you alluded to. We're gonna have to come back on and do that again for sure, or do this again because I'd love to hear about that and kind of deep dive some of that stuff. And well, I also want to hear about the Acro show in Europe, so that'll be another sit down if you want. Um, but yeah, anything? I guess I hate to cut it short, dude. We're not even at an hour yet, but it's just
There's going to be more. Hopefully, I actually was a little hesitant because I've never done a podcast before. But what better subject to do a podcast on than something that I'm actually passionate about? So I'm always happy to geek out and join you again for a little session to like deep dive in whatever subject or whatever. I geek out about it all. I got mates that geek out about it all. So if you want to get them on too, like we can make this a party for sure.
Yeah, man, that'll be sick. A couple rapid fire questions for you real quick off the top of my head. I already asked you what your favorite place to fly is, which I know is hard to answer. And this is even harder probably because we're a lot alike. What is your favorite wing to fly? If you had to pick one forever.
One forever wing. Versatility wise, probably like a Code or a Bantam. But like speed flying, a Fury 8 specifically. Like best all rounder. Yeah, definitely has been my go to. I've been playing a lot more with the Flame recently, but I love the Fury.
Yeah. So I haven't flown either. And I want to. I'm thinking I'm gonna demo a Flame 2.
Yeah, I recommend for sure, especially if you're foot launching.
Yeah, and probably like a 13, just because I'm not gonna have to run as fast because walking sucks right now, so running is gonna be hard for a little while. Yeah. But and then I haven't tried a Fury. They look super fun though. They look super fun. What's the smallest wing you have?
6'8" Fury, and then 7 Flame.
Nice. And then what's the biggest wing you have?
28-meter tandem.
Dang.
For my dog and I, but yeah.
Sick. Oh, that's right. I think I've seen. Was it you? For sale. What kind of dog do you have?
Great Pyrenees. So if you can see that, she's
sweetvheart.
Yeah, that's actually out Southside.
Nice.
She loves to watch the wings, hang out. It's like her thing to. She actually pissed on my wing for the very first time. I've had her for 3 years now, probably, and she just got the balls. She was a rescue, so she was a very scared dog. Yeah. She just got the balls to piss on my wing, so I made sure to fucking scare her a little bit.
She was just claiming it, man. She's like, "This is mine."
It literally was like that because it was like I left it at the floor of the car. Usually, I stuff them into the car. And she was like, "Oh, you think that this goes here? Well, this is actually my spot." And I was like, "Damn it!"
Mad. She was pissed.
Yeah, because it was like her spot. It's the spot she likes to sit. But whatever.
Right. That's funny. Dang, dude.
Yeah. A little bit more of like a report straight into this. Like not a hard answer question. I'm not really sure how we left it last time. Which probably would have benefited, but whatever. We can figure it out.
I was trying to go back and listen, and I missed like the last 10 minutes because I was kind of like, shoot, I need to wrap this up. So it kind of like, I was trying to just be like, all right, so like, I mean, and this is something I do. It's like, rapid fire, like, what's your favorite wing, favorite place to fly?
Okay, I remember. Yeah. Exactly.
But that's just like, we're at the end of it. I just want to hear what's up. And then the last thing you want to say or whatever, like any parting words, I guess, after we, before we shut it down. That's kind of like how I typically have been ending these. And granted, this is like episode 14. I think you're the guest. You're like the 4th guest. So it's not like I've been doing this forever. Like, I'm literally figuring this out. Like, welcome back.
I appreciate it.
The last one ended abruptly because I had an appointment to get to for my leg, and then I was like, "Dude, we need to get back on and do this." And I had some time tonight. I literally messaged you like 30 minutes before we got on, and here we are. So I appreciate it. I realize that it's hard to get back into the flow from where we were, but you're a cool dude. I like to run my mouth, so I feel like it'll work.
It'll
but
definitely work.
but
I definitely can like give a little bit of insight on kind of my background and how I got into the sport, and or sorry, not how I got into the sport, but how I was seen as originally like really dangerous, really bad pilot. Nobody wanted to see me and nobody wanted to hang out with me, to kind of turning the corner and being a little more accepted and people wanting to hang out with me.
for
Uh,
sure.
Originally, I would say my mentor, he kind of taught me to be super passionate, and I was young and I was obviously extremely passionate about the sport. All I wanted to do was fly. I didn't necessarily have an opportunity to like say, hey, it's not a great time to fly down, you know? Uh, and then through a whole bunch of injuries and accidents, and obviously hanging out with better pilots and experiencing more, you know, sustainable decision making, I feel like I was more accepted into the community, which was honestly the most beneficial thing for my flying is to like be around these pilots who decide to fly uh, in only the best conditions, or kind of are optimistic and can pick and choose the days when they fly, and they're not always so bam, 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 you know? I'm sure you guys have pilots like that that you spend time with, or you try and encourage to make better decisions in your area.
Definitely,
It's
definitely.
definitely hard to do that without the community support and lifting you up, you know?
It is hard, and that's also, it's a privilege to be around pilots that are more experienced and better than you are when you're learning. And by you, I mean like proverbially, like anybody that's learning any sport. If you can be around people that are better than you, you're gonna improve like tenfold, way faster. And you're gonna learn more just through like osmosis. Like you might not even know that you're learning, but you're learning. If you watch people in person, it's a lot different than watching them on like Instagram or whatever. Um, but I will say like I was the same way where I was like so gun ho on flying and so obsessed with like maximizing the amount of experience I was getting within a certain day of flying that it I would almost like, well, I totally actually would push the envelope of conditions.
Yeah,
Fly
yeah,
when it was thermic, and I knew it was thermic because it was thermic 10 minutes ago when I landed, and now I'm back up on the launch and, or 30 minutes ago, whatever. And,
yeah.
so like pushing the envelope is hard, especially when you're hungry for it. So being around people that know better, like you're not going to launch if like your mentor or someone that you look up to that's really good and has a lot of experiences not launching, you're probably not going to launch.
Early day Point of Mountain pilots, me especially, dude. I was the like biggest one I know of this. Man, it was so easy to just do lap after lap after lap after lap and be like, it was getting bumpy. It was getting a little more bumpy. It was getting a little more bumpy.
Right.
You know, and just not really knowing when to stop. And eventually, you know, you're dealing with some crap. But uh,
Yeah.
now I would say it's more just my appetite is filled. I know when my limitations are. Like, it took a while, but everyone was telling me, like, man, don't be so hungry. Don't be so hungry. You'll have years and years and years of this. And I feel like you probably mentioned it earlier. It was like, it's easier to think now that, you know, as long as I don't make the decision that today's the last day of flying, that I'll always have tomorrow and the day after and the day after, or the rest of my life, essentially.
Right. And with that mentality, you will have tomorrow. But if you have the opposite mentality that a lot of people do, and that I also had, um, you might hurt yourself and not be able to
It's
fly for months or ever again, or you
it's
might die. I mean, especially at the point, like Southside, like, dude, you
uh,
look at that and you're like, man, this is like, the McDonald's play ball pit, I mean,
and
it's
as
like
like a
exciting.
frothing new pilot, man, it's the dream. You know, like
Oh, it's awesome.
it's
Yeah.
it's hard to not just want to. And I would never tell a pilot don't get as many flights as possible, but also know that you can just fly tomorrow. You know, like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's just as fun to fly tomorrow. And like, think about how fun it'll be to fly tomorrow. Like, sit
For
there
sure.
and eat In and Out, or Waffle House. If I guess there's not too many East Coast flying, but I love Waffle House. I
Waffle House
guess.
is rad.
Yeah.
Waffle House is pretty good. I actually like Waffle House more than IHOP. I'm sorry for everybody, but Denny's trumps all. Denny's is the best. Like, chain diner, Denny's, dude, for sure.
Okay,
But
I'll have to go try that.
you never had Denny's before?
No, I can't say that I've been to Denny's more than maybe once or twice.
Okay, so you have been there at least. Like you at
Yeah,
least know what I'm
for
talking
sure,
about. Yeah, I'm like, good lord, dude, Denny's. Come on, I know there's
But like
Denny's
I
in
haven't
Salt
I
Lake.
haven't like given their menu a full look over. But
I
sorry
mean,
to get totally off topic.
you
I
know,
was just thinking of like like rad appetizing food after a big event. Usually I go to like
yeah,
IHOP. Whenever I used to live back home, and now that I'm in Miami, I went to Waffle House the other day. So
fair
shout
enough.
out! I love
I
Waffle
mean,
House.
dude, you can't beat the high calorie, like high carb breakfast food at any part of the day, especially after an
Yeah,
event. But dude,
yeah,
I honestly, like, I am super jealous of Southside. Like, if that was down the street for me, I would literally fly every day. Like
yeah.
literally every day. I mean, and have
It,
like 10 different wings to fly there because, based on the conditions, right? I mean, within reason, obviously, if it's like thunderstorming, I'm not going to do it. But like, you know, that place is rad. There's a lot
when
you
I
can
see
do there.
like Speedway worthy Southside scoring, I get so excited. It's
Oh,
like
for sure.
honestly, I get so excited, and yeah,
What-
it's my favorite. It's so convenient. I get to fly like my favorite wings to fly, and it's soaring, so I just get to do it for hours on end.
Yeah, you can stay up forever
Traction kiting in the winter, dude. Baller. It's
for
perfect.
sure. What excuse me, what kind of wind does it take there for you to be able to turbo soar with your speed wing?
I'm really light, so I usually am able to like jump on my speed wing mid to mid 20s, I'd say. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. That
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
Because it's not
I mean,
like
I'm not sure if that's like a light factor, but I'm jumping on an 8 meter at like 25 mile per hour, which is sick.
I was gonna say it'd have to be a smaller wing for sure. But
Yeah,
then like I've seen some clips of you flying like a 13-meter mustache and stuff. I mean, those like I mean parakites in general, right? But I can really only speak on the flare line, like the line and the mustache, because those are the two that I've flown. I haven't had an opportunity to fly like the Odin yet, or like the Wave RS looks kind of sick. I'm excited to see what that's like. The new swing wing. But dude, those things are incredible. Like you can pull those things up in like some nuking wind, and you don't get plucked, you don't get drug. Like it's incredible technology. And then for soaring, it's like basically the mustache was made for like dune soaring. I mean, truly, like if you look at it, if you look at like the early days of it, that's kind of what they were in like built to do. Obviously the line changed that a little bit, but and then dude, Level Wings has a parakeet, don't they? What's it called? The Fuse?
yeah. The fuse. Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited to get like a 20 meter size out of that,
Big
just
boy.
because yeah, open up a lot more of a range for soaring for me. I've been scratching around on my mustache, but I obviously want something to kind of, whenever I'm at Southside, I want to play in all of the wind ranges that I can, and that's kind of the spot that I'm missing right now. And I
Sure.
think a great wing for my dog and I. So
Yeah.
I just want to,
And
because together we're kind of like the weight of my buddy who weighs about 200 pounds. My dog and I together were kind of about his weight. So I think that 20 meter would be great for me solo in pretty light winds, and
yeah,
then my dog and I obviously in a little bit stronger winds, but still less than
dude.
something that I'd be soaring myself on my
With a
small.
20 meter, you could probably source some pretty light winds by yourself. But yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
super
I'm
cool if you
excited.
pop. That'd be really cool. I
Yeah,
mean, that's like so where I like to fly in Washington out in Chelan, the main like, Airport Ridge site, which is kind of like this iconic ridge, is like it's like Southside, but it's like 600 feet tall. I mean, it's probably like North Side, but like the LZ is like Southside. There's very little as far as like hazards go,
okay.
um,
Yeah.
which is cool. So it kind of reminds me of Southside a little bit. There's a little bit more going on there, but not much more. And it's like
Northside, you have a bunch of people as hazards.
a
Northside, the
bunch of people
are a bunch of picnickers and little girls and stuff like that. Yeah,
down the
it's
LZ. Yeah,
definitely stressful sometimes, but
I
it
bet.
keeps it interesting. I think I've seen a couple videos of Satellite Ridge, right?
Airport Ridge.
Airport Ridge. Okay, my
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like right on the Columbia River. The wind is like super consistent. It's very laminar because there's like nothing in the way really. Um, no, there's no trees. There's like one tree like kind of off to the side of the LZ. There are train tracks that are kind of up against the mountain, so like they're not a factor. And landing short, it's not a good idea. There's like a bunch of big rocks. I mean, stuff that you would have with like train tracks, you know. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
for the most part, it's like a 300-meter long by 200-meter wide grassy area, and then beyond that, it's just like desert sagebrush, basically. So you can pretty much land anywhere in this like flat area. It's huge. I mean, it's like a mile and a half long, and I don't know, maybe a 3/4 of a mile wide at its widest point. So there's a lot of options there. It's a great place to learn, great place to train. Kind of like Southside is. It's just a little bit bigger, so you get a little bit more flight time. You can do a little bit more if there's like no wind. But then behind Airport Ridge is Deer Mountain, which is what Todd Higley owns, and that's his flight park. And he just uses the flat area as the landing area. He doesn't own the landing area, but you can get 2,300-foot flights, I think, off the summit of that, and there's like 10 different launches and different facing different directions. So you can pretty much fly there 300 and I don't know 60 days a year or something. It's
You
awesome.
guys have
Mhm.
a little Samoa kind of flight park. Huh?
Yeah, it's just I mean, I haven't flown Saboba, which is wild because I lived like when I was in the Navy for like 2 years. I was near there. Like I was only like I don't know a couple hours away at most, and for like 2 years of my career. And
You
I
were flying then?
no, I wasn't. I had been
Okay. Okay.
skydiving, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wasn't speed flying or like doing any paraglide stuff yet. But it was so close. I'm like, dang, I wish I could go back and just whisper in my ear, be like, yo, dude, like you need to do this because it's down the road. But hindsight's 2020, so it's all good.
Out of curiosity, do you paraglide at all now?
No, I've got a 16-meter Apis RS that I picked up for almost full price, but it was used, dude. I look back on that, I'm like freaking idiot, dude. But that wing scares the crap out of me, bro. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, but there's a common misconception, and I'm actually gonna do a podcast about this with my buddy who's a paraglide instructor who's like also now a speed flyer, because he's flown the Apis like a lot. And in my mind, when I bought it, I was like, oh, dude, this will be rad for like flatter launches. Like I won't have to run my ass off through a boulder field
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
a lot of
Okay.
the places I fly around where I live, it's like pretty flat, like the launches are, and then it kind of like rolls off into like a boulder field. So if you're not in
Yeah.
the air before you get to that spot, you're like totally screwed, dude. And I've had like little crashes into those boulders, I think twice. Got super lucky, like very bruised up, but like didn't break anything or like die. It was a wake up call. So I got the Apis, which launches like a paraglider. I mean, it's like a dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
But bro, like, dude, that thing has scared me. I think I've got maybe 10 flights with that thing. And like, dude, I wish I don't have a reserve. I wish I had one for that thing specifically. Didn't wasn't running an airbag or anything, but bro, like there were some times like I think it tricked me because the first like 3 laps with that, it was like a really slow speed wing. Like it just like it carved and I stayed
Yeah.
low to the
Yeah.
ground, and I had like a really soft landing. Like it was like butter. I'm like, oh dude, this thing is like exactly what I wanted. And then I went
Yeah.
out on a day that seemed like the same conditions, but was totally different, dude. Like I could not come down. I was like doing wing overs, trying not to like get outside wingtip collapses, like just
And yeah, the
flying
inputs.
the
Yeah.
crap out of that thing, trying to get down, and it just wouldn't come down. And I overshot where I normally land. Thankfully, it's like this big, it's essentially a vineyard, but the vineyard kind of stops at a point, so there's not like trees, but it's like undulating terrain, and there's like hidden rocks and ditches and stuff. It's like really bad. I landed like on the upside of a ditch and just PLF'd my ass off, dude. Like I straight up was like, I'm gonna double femur. Like this is bad. Um, and it was the scariest freaking thing in my life. So I'm like, I keep saying I'm gonna sell the Apis, but I keep not selling it. Like I just like I haven't listed it, because like I'm like, oh, maybe someday. But dude, mini wings are not an easy step between speed flying and paragliding. It's like if you're a paraglider and you want to like scare the crap out of yourself, you fly mini wings. It's not
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
like an easier speed fly. It's a way harder paragliding. Like
yeah. I'm glad we were on the same boat there because I had the exact same thoughts whenever I was young. I was like, oh, I don't want a paraglider. I want a speed wing paraglider. So I got a mini wing. But really, a mini wing is like what a paraglider gets when they don't want a speed wing. They get a smaller paraglider so they
yeah,
can be more dynamic. And I have Spirit lines, and now I have to sell my Spirit lines. So if anybody wants
right.
Spirit lines, it's September 14th, 2025. They're available as of now at a
Yeah,
discounted rate if you give me this Speed Vector discount code.
perfect. Vic approved, 10%
Yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So I totally agree with that. It was definitely something that caught me off guard, like trying to learn uh mini wings. And I hate paragliding. I'm in the exact same. I hate it so much. It scares the crap out of me. I hate heights. It really has a lot of time to think about like how small the lines are that I'm attached to, and just everything is so stressful. So I the more speed flyers that I've talked to about paragliding that have never really gotten good at paragliding or really had that background, they're all in the same boat. And then obviously I know it's like a skill issue, so I can definitely get better at it. But man, just the it's
It's
so yeah, I don't love it at all.
it's something that like I think when I'm old and like my knees don't work anymore or something, hopefully like I don't know, 40 years from now or something, I'll be like, you know what, like yeah, let's freaking do some PG stuff because like it's way softer. Like I mean, launching as long as you don't get like plucked or drug or whatever. Hopefully in 40 years from now, ground handling will be like a like I'll be like a ninja, But
Yeah,
and then the landings are typically pretty soft. So like I understand the allure of that, and especially with my current injury, like when I come back, I'm like looking at wings, like, okay, what wing can I fly that isn't gonna like require me to sprint to launch or require me to sprint to land? Because there's always the chance. I mean, I'll probably just slide it out, right? But like the launch really is like a big part of that. And my biggest wing is a 10 meter, besides the Apis, but I don't want to fly it. So I don't really have, I mean, and then I have a 13-meter line, but that thing launches like a lot. I have to run a lot faster than even like my 9 meter. So it's like that's kind of off the table for now. So but what's interesting is like all these speed fly companies, like I mean, take Level Wings for instance. The Flame and the Flame 2 is, um, I mean, they market it as like a mini wing speed wing hybrid, but it's not a mini wing. It's just like a more efficient speed wing, you know? Like I and it has the stability and collapse resistance and passive safety that speed wings have versus like mini paragliders do not. They're a mini paraglider which they collapse like a lot, I mean, it's like that's like the MO of paragliding. It's like that's why people take SIV courses because the shit collapses. Like
yeah, exactly.
you don't take an SIV course in speed flying because I mean they could collapse, but like usually when that happens, it's like really bad. It doesn't just like passively happen. Whereas in paragliding, I feel like it, and I could be wrong. I'm speaking out of turn probably because I'm not a paraglider, but like to me, it seems like it happens quite often, you know? So, I mean, maybe not, but I'm just watching X Alps, and it's like these dudes have like little collapses all the freaking time. Like it's like a part of the game. So,
Yeah, I definitely say it's like a loading thing for like within the flame range. Like obviously, as you get to a really high size or a big size and a light wing loading, you have to be more precise on the brakes. It's totally doable, but like same characteristics in the X Alps is those guys are dealing with like the most. I, I'm not sure. I don't paraglide. I like to think of it like a snake because it's always like
yeah,
those wings are like super thin and long like a snake and
really high
like
aspect ratio wings. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. It's hard to maintain the tip pressure whenever you're dealing with so much surface area. Like, yeah, I
for
don't
sure.
paraglide, but even light loading, like I've played with my buddies' wings, like big paragliding wings, and I haven't been loaded properly. I've been under the wing loading range, and it's so difficult to keep the tips like pressurized, like in the right brake range. Uh, Obviously, that's not the exact same issue for the X Alps, but that I definitely know that they deal with having to keep their tips inflated because they are flying such a high efficiency wing.
Right. Yeah. Like, and that's the thing. Like, in paragliding, there's A, B, and C, and then I think there's like something beyond C in terms of like a rating for the wing. So like when you're a beginner, you learn on like an easy
CCC
A.
or like
Yeah, I
C
don't even
plus
know,
or
like
something. Yeah,
Mega Pro Death or something, Mega
yeah.
Death maybe. I don't know. Like,
I haven't done my due diligence, and I kind of feel guilty as like I haven't really flown something that honestly would make my flying better. Is like I feel like if I gave paragliding the time and like got over my fears essentially, and not just like flown and dinked around at north side or south side, and like actually gone and tried to follow my friends out places, uh, I honestly think it would benefit my flying fantastically. Or just maybe decision making is probably the goal.
for sure. I mean, dude, honestly, like I think any form of this, any form of flying nylon, right, is going to benefit speed flying. Like, I mean, skydiving canopies act differently. They fly differently. They are different, but at the end of the day, it's like the same thing. Yeah, grabbing fronts, like that's a big thing, right? Like
Yeah,
you grab fronts to get the thing cooking. It's all that's doing is like opening your trim on a speed wing. It's just changing the angle of attack of the trim, right? Like it's making it a lower angle of attack, so more aggressive. It's pointing towards the ground. When you open your trim on a speed wing, it's the same thing. It just like lowers the nose. It points the nose down. You get a faster
yeah,
wind,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's the
yeah,
same thing. But if you touch your freaking your A risers on your speed wing, you're gonna frontal and like probably just
yeah,
pile drive into the earth. So like, don't touch your A's. Um, don't even touch your rears until you fully understand what you're doing because it's not worth it. But yeah, I mean, it's dude. I okay. So we both came from skydiving, which I think is why we don't like all the speed flyers that came from skydiving say the same thing. They don't like the feeling of going
yeah.
up.
Going up, yeah, exactly, dude. I'm so
So
glad we agree.
eerie, dude. It's so eerie. I'm like, and it makes me like
There's
cringe. I'm like,
training not like that.
I don't like this. Like, I
My
really don't
tummy
like.
hurts, bro. My
Like, I'm
tummy
trying to go
hurts.
down.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to go down fast
Yeah.
specifically.
And I mean, I'm not trashing paragliding, dude. I have a lot of respect for it. I'm just being straight. Like, honestly, it scares the crap out of me, and that's why I don't do it. And the
I
wings
don't
are
like
expensive, and they're big.
the idea of like riding the roller coaster is so intimidating. You're at the mercy of like winds that jetliners are flying through. I'm not a jetliner, bro.
No,
Like
no,
I'd much rather chill on my mountains, but it's obviously a risk versus reward, and I don't necessarily see the reward in it, and some people do. So I can totally respect that and see the interest whenever I might be maybe not older, bro, because I swear they take just as many steps to get off the mountain because you have longer to inflate it,
that's true.
bringing that pendulum up and over.
That's true.
I, I don't know. I have theories, but I don't put them to test because I don't want to fly big wings. So
I mean, honestly, that's a huge thing. So like this Apis RS, I have 16 meter. When I bought it, I was like, because it was sight unseen. I had not seen this wing in person. That thing is freaking huge, dude. I lay that
yeah,
thing out and it is absurd. I'm like, you're 16 meters? Like, actually? Like, it's just because you compare it to, obviously a different shape, right? But you compare it to like a 15 meter or a 16 meter, like Dragonfly or, 2RS or whatever, Level Wings Flame, even. It,
yeah,
it, they're dwarfed compared to
yeah,
the Apis, and it's just because it's like a really high aspect ratio wing. Like it's way longer than it is wide. Speed wings look more like a skydiving canopy in that they're a little bit more square. They're still quite like, I mean, every wing's a little different, but like still pretty high aspect ratio, but just a lot smaller, even in a bigger size. So I don't know. My thing is I don't like having big wings because I don't like having a lot of fabric. Like it's just kind of nice to like be able to scoop it up like your videos of you just like grabbing it out of the air and pulling your lines in and there it is. Like you can't do that with a freaking 13 meter of the same wing. It has to be like pretty small. Even a 9 meter actually is like kind of a lot to handle, and to do that exact thing that you do. I've tried a couple times. It's tough. But when you get to the smaller wings, obviously it comes with a consequence because you're flying faster and stuff comes at you quick. So I'm not telling people to downsize prematurely. Like it's a really bad idea to go fly a freaking 8-meter Fury unless you are ready to fly an 8-meter Fury. Like it's a freaking bad idea. Um, but
Don't downsize, but when you do downsize,
but when
enjoy
you
the
do,
satisfying
yeah,
reeling in your wing.
yes, you will reap the rewards of flying a smaller wing when it is time. But if you do it beforehand, you will get slapped. So do
Yeah.
not do it beforehand. And it's so funny too, dude, because it won't be the first few laps with a new wing. You'll be like, oh, this thing is sick. It's doing what I want it to do. It's faster. It looks cooler. It's easier to put in my little stash bag. But it's when stuff goes wrong where you really have to know your wing and know the capabilities and also know the inputs you need to do without thinking about it in a split second to save your own life. So downsizing serious, like definitely take it easy with that. I've talked about it ad nauseum on this podcast with people already, and this is only episode 14. So it is a huge topic, and there is a reason to take it slow. And normally it's a lesson that was learned in somebody getting really hurt or dying. So it's not like myth, it's not gatekeeping, it's not like, Ronan and I aren't sitting here on this podcast being like we're cooler than you because we fly smaller wings. Like that's not what we're saying. Like it just
Another
takes
thing,
to get there.
another thing that I'm learning to respect more is that an upsize is always a respectable choice. Like not necessarily a long-term upsize, but like I'm pretty sure we talked about it earlier. I don't always enjoy flying hardcore all the time. Like sometimes my headspace isn't there, so I don't always have to. I'm lucky enough that I have a few options of wings that I can choose from. So like that's definitely a very respectable option in a lot of cases. Is yeah,
Yeah,
take the
I
bigger
mean,
wing, bro.
even
Don't use
like
not to.
furthermore, it's like it's sometimes it's fun to slow down a little bit, like you're still getting the reps in. But like instead of making 3 turns down something, what if you could make like 5 or like 8? You
I
know?
got to try my buddy's code and a 3 minute, or like not even, like our flights are a minute and 30 seconds down this mountain. I got to spend 12 minutes up there. It was so sick. I got to
That's a
see
long
every
time.
single part of the mountain. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
You slow
And I hate
down, dude.
paragliding, by the way. I totally hate paragliding. You couldn't
Right.
live with paragliding.
Get a reserve, get a paraglide harness, get an airbag, do all the stuff, but get some training. Uh but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, dude, it's nice to slow down. Like I personally, I mean, I'll tell you what, like I was I was flying my 9-meter R3 or Rapidos for I don't know, like a hundred flights in a row. And then I got my hands on a 15-meter 2RS and I was stoked. I'm like, dude, this is so fun. Like instead of doing 3 turns and swooping like my ass off, I'm trying to figure out how to swoop a bigger wing again. Like it's because it's
Yeah.
harder, Like I mean, it's
Yeah.
not harder. It's just the sight picture is a little different. But um,
I would
I
say it's definitely harder to keep the wing down. Like, I can't swoop a big wing. I'm not that great. And
well, you have to turn lower. Like that's the problem, And that's the thing I
it's more
don't like.
intimidating.
It's more intimidating, especially when your sight picture is like you're
Maybe
used to
not,
seeing
but
like
yeah.
400 feet or whatever. That's when you're starting your turn. Well, if you start a turn at 400 feet with a 15-meter, like it depends on your wing loading. Like, so my all up weight's like 160 pounds. So I'm not like heavy. I'm not light. I'm like somewhere in between. Um, like my wing loading on the 9 meters, like a 2.1 pounds per square foot. I don't know what it is in meters. On the 15, it's like, significantly less. So like it cycles so fast that like if I did my like initiate the same turn at 400 feet, which I'm just ballparking because I don't have an altimeter, like I'm just guessing it's 400 feet. It's probably lower. Um, I would be like 200 feet high, But like if I initiate that same turn with my 9-meter, I'm pretty much in the sweet spot. Maybe a little bit of adjustment, but like I'm right there,
I'd say
So
my biggest struggle is like timing the energy right to be right at the apex of my turn, to like not boat up essentially. Like
that's the
obviously
game.
north side, whenever I have a bunch of people around, I can't necessarily just stabby touch to stay down or whatever. So I usually, just stick to little 90 and call it a day. But yeah, I bringing too much energy into those bigger wings, I don't necessarily know what to do with it, which I hate to say it, but would be something I would learn, paragliding. I know that yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll get off that.
No, I mean, dude, it's true. Like those things balloon like crazy. Like if you do a turn of any aggressive, like any ounce of aggression with a paraglider or a bigger wing, you're gonna gain the altitude that you lost on that turn because they're so efficient, you know. So it's it's tough. I mean, it goes back to what we were talking about. I think it had to have been us. I don't know, it was a couple days ago. I apologize, but we're like it's fun to fly a bunch of different wings, but if you
But
fly a bunch of different wings, you never like fully learn one, you know? And then you're kind of
yeah,
like it takes a couple of laps, at least for me, to like dial it back in. I think the only exception to that is like the line. Um, because that thing there's not a lot to dial in with the line. Like it's so intuitive and it's so easy to like it's all in your hands, you know? Like if you want to go steeper, you just put your hands up, and if you want to go flatter, you just pull your hands down. Like it's very intuitive. It's so different. Like parakiting in general is like a whole different sport than from speed flying in my opinion. But so there's a lot to learn. There's a big adjustment there. Like definitely don't I'm not telling goodness, dude, I'm getting in trouble today. I'm not telling people to go buy a parakite and go freaking crazy. Okay. It is actually they're hard to fly. They're easy to fly, but it's hard to learn. Like just get some goddamn training.
I'd say the most difficult thing in that sense would be that, in my opinion, is because I struggle with it the most. Like I mostly only soar my kite riser wings, and I took one up into the mountain the other day, and I realized I didn't have the best cadence or like know-how for the launch because I had only had an opportunity to do, a couple dozen forward launches on my kite riser wing when I first bought it, almost a year and a half ago, and I didn't have the best cadence for it. And I was like, man, I know I can do this. I'm not sure how long I'm going to run. I'm not sure the best way to make it the most efficient. X, Y, and Z. I feel like that's the biggest thing that I learned. The longer I spend my time on the wing, like the Flame is the best example, is I've finally given it a little more credit because I obviously love my Fury, and being in the Wasatch, I don't want to like switch up and try new things and necessarily not have the most fun. I know it's a bad mentality, but I just wanted to stick with what I knew. But the thing I noticed the most now is like I have a much better cadence on launch, and I know exactly where I'm going to get off. I feel very confident in a lot more conditions, and not necessarily needing perfect conditions, which I think goes a long way whenever you spend more time on the wing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just like we're saying, like you learn a wing by using it, you know, and if you use
Yeah.
another wing, like they're all like kind of the same, but they're different. Like they all have different mannerisms, different characteristics, they different personalities, you know. I'm assuming the Flame launches a little bit flatter and quicker than the Fury would. Am I right or wrong on that?
Yeah, obviously there's like inflation speed differences and like yeah, but
But I mean,
yeah,
is it more efficient with the
once
trim
it's inflated and you're running, yeah, for sure,
once it's
it
inflated?
gets off
Yeah.
fantastically. It's a dream. It has great glide.
That
Uh,
might be the
I,
wing that I come back to. I think when I'm able to fly again, I might have to get a Flame. I don't know, like maybe a one or a two. I don't know. The two's probably better, right? Because it's new, but it could be the same. I have no idea. I haven't flown either, but I feel like a little slower to launch, a little like slower meaning I don't have to run as fast. I'm assuming.
yeah, I'd just say it's like a lot more Speedwing esque. Obviously, it has the more lightweight fabric, more similar to the light Flame, so it inflates much better compared to that heavier Flame One before they made the light.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
You're talking about the two. I see.
yeah,
Okay.
the two for sure. Yeah, more Speedwing esque compared to the first one. Just
Sure.
holds the recovery arc a little deeper. Dives so deep, bro. It's insane how much the Flame dives. Obviously, with the longer lines, it holds that recovery arc better. It's a great
Right.
wing. I love
Right.
it for foot launching more recently. I just never really gave it the credit on some of our steeper lines. I was always using it for like flatter, grassy lines like Kronplatz style ski slope stuff. But
Sure.
yeah, it's definitely been fun to figure out in some different terrain.
What size are you flying?
The 7 mostly. I have an 8.5 Flame 2 as well, but
Cool.
yeah, it just depends on the terrain. Usually I fly the 7 on our steeper stuff. If I'm not feeling it, I have some bigger wings that I like to take, but there's the 8.5 has great glide. It uses its speed for lift fantastically, so I can like really do some shallow stuff. I just have to have a decent launch or inflation area that I can get
Right.
it up.
Right. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine. Yeah, dude, I'm hungry to try one. I think I'm gonna demo one when I'm able to fly. Cause and in a bigger size though, not a 7, because I don't think I'm able to run fast enough. But I mean, at least initially. But it seems cool, dude. I really want to dive into the Level Wings lineup because I love the fizz, and it's like the first fizz, there's a new fizz, and like I see them around and I'm like, dude, but it's so region dependent. Like we don't have a lot of people flying Level Wings out here. And I mean, Todd's a dealer, but he doesn't
You
have
guys are mostly ozone up there as well.
uh that's dude, it's hard to say. I mean, my buddies are fluid wing, my fluid wings dealers, and one of them is a fluid wings pilot. So like they're all fluid. And I like their wings a lot. They're really cool. But dude, it's hard to say. Like I feel like a lot of people, I mean, some of the bigger names fly ozone. We've got
Yeah.
like Patrick Hennessy lives out here. He's an ozone team pilot. He's freaking ripping in Europe right now. I'm gonna have him on hopefully in the next month when he gets back. He keeps like pushing
Just
back his
watching
like,
his video today.
dude, he's an
So,
animal. He's like the nicest guy too. He's super cool. But
yeah.
it's cool to have him kind of like a couple hours for me. He was like an hour and a half for me. He's rad. I keep wanting to go fly with him. I was going to, and then I got hurt. So that kind of nixed that at least for a little bit. But um, yeah, he's a good dude, and I mean, dude, he's ripping, bro. I mean, and talk about like it's cool. Like you see, like Jamie Lee fly a 5.9 meter, like R3X, and it's very impressive. But I can tell you, like Patrick flying a 6.5 R3X is almost, it's not more impressive, but from a wing loading perspective, it's way more gnarly. Like his all up weight's like 180. Like he's not a small guy. So him flying a 6.5 meter wing is like pretty gnarly. Like I mean
Yeah.
that's a heavy wing load, dude. Like to be foot launching and stuff. It's like, bro, I don't know. I've got a 6 meter R3 I haven't flown. My wing loading is not outrageous on that, but it's not child's play either. So I'm waiting for that one, probably a couple of years from now, but we'll see.
The 200-pound friend I told you about, he flew a 10-meter Fury that we had around, and I was flying my 6.8 Fury, and he smoked me on in every speed wise in every aspect. It was amazing. I would say the only benefit or the best benefit, the biggest downside to downsizing is your stability and stall point and stuff like that. So like
Yeah,
yeah, like I would much rather, and obviously if I could I would, and I know I can, I just don't, so I don't. But I
sure.
will maybe start, but bringing like ballast essentially. Like I have a buddy who flies with wing loading, like 3 liters of water. He's flown with
Mm,
up to 6 liters, which is wild, bro. Like that's 20 pounds of wing loading, and he's not a light guy. But
wow.
I definitely want to like take my bigger wings essentially and have a better flare characteristics, launching characteristics, all of the
Yeah.
above characteristics,
Yeah.
uh, and just fly faster. Because like even in skydiving swooping competitions, they'll upsize and just take loaded vest and like ballast essentially, so they can swoop longer and faster. Because
Yeah. Yeah. Weight
whatever
belts or
physics,
yeah, wearing
I'm
lead
not
in
sure.
skydiving is nothing new, right? Like that, like I
The
mean, all the top guys. Well, I think there's a cap. I read this rule recently, and I'll misquote it, but basically, like there's a certain weight that you can't exceed. Um, and I think it has to do with a percentage of what you weigh. I don't know. It's like very technical, but um, you can wear lead up to a certain point,
yeah,
basically.
for sure. I
So
would
like the
imagine
really
so.
little dudes are like, and gals are loading it up, right? But like the bigger
Yeah,
guys aren't because they can't, right? Because it's like there's a weight limit. But um, yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like I think flying a 6 meter wing is freaking rad, but at the same time, like it comes at a cost, like
yeah,
like you said, like the wing activity, dude, talk about twitchy. Like I've ground handled that thing a little bit, and bro, it's twitchy. Like I mean, you go from an 11 meter to a 9 meter wing. and the difference is outrageous. Like it's not like a step down, it's like 10 steps down. Because everything is like right, like you flex your left butt cheek and you're freaking turning left. Like that's how sensitive they can be. You know, it depends on your wing loading, but even if you're light and you're like once you get below, you know, 11 meters, like we're talking like 10 meter, like level wing says 10-meter range wings, like the lines are a lot shorter, the brakes are going to be a lot heavier, like it's not going to take as much of a movement to get the wing to do what you're telling it to do. So if you're used to flying something bigger with a longer brake range, you have a lot of potential of basically like overflying it and then getting into a lot of trouble
for sure.
yeah. So something to be, I didn't intend on this to be a downsizing seminar, but dude, we're talking about downsizing a lot. I think I'm gonna go kite tomorrow actually for the first time in 3 months. I mean, the wind is
Flying
right.
is the best therapy for like once you're ready. I obviously, well, not obviously, but I torched my ankles a couple times, and like dragging around at Southside once my ankles could take it was like the best therapy. Just like shredding and like
Oh, I
obviously
bet.
like
Just
dealing with the
breaking
little
up the
chunder is what I call it. Yeah, or like
yeah,
traction kiting, anything
sure.
low impact. But
Yeah.
flying is like taking the weight off of you essentially, and then
Yeah.
you can pivot against the wing and take as much weight as you want. And like it's my version of physical therapy, bro. It's the best.
Breaks up all the scar tissue in the ankles.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
ankles definitely love it afterwards. They feel like
Oh, for sure.
they're about to explode.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, I'm just working on range of motion with mine. But yeah, tomorrow I've got a doc's appointment for an X-ray to make sure that my leg bones are healed. And if I get the green light from them, meaning like they're healed, they would never be like, "Yeah, go fly." But if they're like, "Yeah, your leg's not broken anymore," I'm gonna go ground handle tomorrow because the wind's gonna be up and there's like this sick grassy hill in this park near me. That's like not big enough to fly, but it's steep and it gets like good compression. They'll
Yeah,
probably
smooth.
just go freaking hang out under my wing and just lay down and like just enjoy looking at it in the air and feeling it and stuff again because it's been quite a while. Um, so I'm stoked on that, and it'll probably either be like the line or the 6 meter. I don't know. We'll see. It's not going to be crazy windy. It's probably not enough for the 6 meter, so it might end up being the line. But at least I won't get plucked with that thing because it's a line. You don't get plucked. It's almost impossible. Knock on wood.
Yeah,
Watch me get
yeah.
plucked tomorrow. But
Super satisfying to just look at the wing, bro. It's like,
yeah,
oh,
lay on your
whenever
back.
I can, I'll be there again.
Do you do a lot of ground handling? I mean, you must because you fly
For
Southside a
sure.
lot. You like
Yeah.
soar a lot. That's like
Yeah,
essentially
my
ground
version
handling.
of
Yeah.
like taking a break is if we're not running back to the car for like food or smoke breaks, is like I'll literally just sit on the ridge, or like my dog is usually out there hanging out with us. Usually she's tied to the car, but sometimes I trust her enough to hang out on the ridge, and there's like some caves, or like honestly one day they're gonna give way. She's gonna die, but because she
Okay.
digs in there, bro, too. But there's like some caves underneath the ridge that she'll hang out in.
On the
And
north side or the south side?
on the south side, you know that deep gully
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right on the ridge, like on the top, right on the like apex of the ridge. There's two little holes. I'm not really sure how they formed, but there's big
Oh,
rocks above them. It honestly looks like a bunch of dogs had just made it, but one of
dang.
them's big enough for me to get in. The other
Wow.
one, she ran into while the fireworks were going on,
Mm.
and bro, it was so bad to get her out. It took hours. I finally was like, got her out with the probe, like my Abby probe, literally like hooking the collar onto her
Wow.
thing and getting her out. It was so bad.
That's
Like with
crazy.
a carabiner, yeah, it was heinous, but yeah,
Wow. She was spooked. Yeah, dogs don't like fireworks, that's for sure. Was it like
yeah,
4th of July or something? Or was it just
yeah,
random?
exactly,
Yeah, dude, it's
exactly.
rough. Rough.
But I love the south side for ground handling. North side's a little not the greatest place because obviously most of it is a pretty, you know, tight top ridge,
Yeah,
other than the very, very top north side, which gets crowded super easily. And
I
just,
bet.
I don't love the north side. I mentioned it earlier. It's a lot's going on. People are everywhere. I just don't
Yeah,
love that much going on. I like being in my own zone. I like doing my own thing. I like having calm, enjoyable flying. I
for
used to
sure.
love Northside turbo soaring. Not for
Really.
me.
What
It
how
just
tall is the north side from launch to landing? It's like
I want to say the top of the Widowmaker is like 800 feet. but I'm not super
Oh,
sure.
okay.
I'm not great with the numbers. I don't.
I'm
Some of
just
my
curious.
mates,
Like
they
it's
know all of the numbers around the Wasatch, and I'm not. But I want to say like 800 feet, and then maybe the top is like 1,000.
sure. So I mean, it's significantly bigger than the south side, but
Yeah,
it's
for
not.
sure.
It's still not huge. It
So I
looks
said it's
big
probably
on
like 200
video.
feet.
I've I've been to south side once, and I didn't make it over to the north side. Like I thought it was just like across the parking lot, but I don't think it is. I think it's like a little further
No,
away.
you have to go around the point of the mountain on the freeway,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
like
makes sense.
actually on the freeway,
That
or
makes
like
sense.
on the service road. But it's a proper drive, 10 minutes.
Okay. That's what I
Yeah,
thought. I was like,
yeah.
it seemed like it was right there, but it's not. Like, and this, I was just going there for the south side, and it was like, I spent like a grand total of maybe an hour and a half there, like within an evening till it got dark and a morning until like I needed to hit the road. So it was just like, it was kind of hectic. I was trying to get in as many as I could, basically, but um, super fun though.
Even on the smaller flames, I can still crack like 5 or 6 rolls down the Widowmaker, which is way more than.
North
It's a
side.
nice way. Yeah, yeah, at north side, exactly. Like
Yeah,
after work, whenever I don't necessarily feel like hiking up, but I still want to get like flying, or I feel like I wasn't productive that day,
sure,
which is not necessarily a great mindset. But sometimes I feel like I need to fly, and sometimes I just feel like I want to rest. So on the days
sure.
that I feel like I need to fly, go do a quick north side lap, and man, that's really refreshing. To just,
That's
I
cool.
hate the sight, but it's refreshing.
Yeah. Dude, so that actually leads me to a very important question that I wanted to ask you the other day, but I forgot. So, do you have the record in Utah for the most rolls of anybody that has ever flown?
No, 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 no.
Are you sure?
Uh, yeah, for sure. For definitely not. Oh, that would be such a, yeah, dude. I wish
I
that would
mean,
be sick.
it's in your handle. You're Ronan
I
Rollin. Like
know.
you
I
are
should
the
change
roll.
it.
You're the rolling
I know
dude.
it's such a shame. I suck. I don't even live up to my name.
But
What will I
dude, I mean,
do?
and I mentioned this at the beginning of the other day, but it's so impressive to me because like it just looks like okay. Do you run a GoPro or like a
DJI Osmo Action 5.
okay?
Love it. They sent me a camera. I bought
Oh,
my
sick.
own. So I
Do you
am
have like
fully
a
invested. I have
do you have
two.
like a
But
code or whatever to
no,
pass?
I wish. I keep asking them. I'll maybe after this podcast I'll have a little more reason to. But anyways, I
Yeah,
love the camera. It has 48 gigs internal storage and really
that's cool.
crisp image. I really love it. And
That's
great
cool.
battery life. Fantastic. It's better than uh
All the competitors.
I don't even know the competitor because they suck. GoPro sucks.
We don't
Anyways,
talk
I
about
love
GoPro.
it.
Dude, I've been using GoPro since Hero
So
One.
have
I'm not
I.
endorsed
have
by them. I'm not like I have no affiliation other than I have spent an ungodly amount of money on the stupid cameras, and I
I
love
have
them.
a
They're
3,
fantastic.
an 8, a 10, and a 12, all still in my possession, and I love my Action 5.
There you go. But so
It's got
it
a
makes
magnetic mount.
things they make things look further away than they are, which is why I brought this up. Right? Like it doesn't give you like the correct depth of field because it's such a wide angle camera. Like in general, just action cameras in general. I'm not talking about DJI or GoPro or whatever
Yeah,
the other
yeah,
ones
for
are.
sure, for sure.
But these rolls that you're doing, you're like right off the deck. And you don't initiate them like a lot of people do. Like a lot of people, and I'm not talking about like the pilots that are at your level, but I mean like a little bit, a couple levels below you. They build energy and then throw it, but you're just like instantly throwing it, and you fly on rears a lot. So like just talk me through without caveat here for like the 18 time. This isn't a masterclass on how to do low rolls or low
Uh,
anything, but I'm just curious. Talk me through your approach to like how you can link so many freaking barrel rolls and be so close to the ground.
so probably a little hindsight or like preface would be beneficial. I used to fly 8 meter or like obviously like other sizes, but I flew the Ozone R3X 8 meter specifically was the one that I enjoyed the most. Um, and I had like a 9 Rapidos before that. But I love the R3X. I flew it on toggles mostly, and I flew it in a very cracking, really low, tight rolls, like almost like bam, bam, like lowest margin I could, like cracking it on my toggles essentially. So,
Sure.
you know, um, since then, flying level wings more often and just changing my style. I really enjoyed, and it doesn't look like it because of whatever reason. I'm not. It blows my mind still. I can get into this in a second, but it still blows my mind. But I do more of like a spiral, like I, and the flame holds its energy longer than my Fury does, so I have a little more time to like draw it out and crack the roll, or I can speed it up because it has a quicker recovery arc in some senses.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I just have a lot more opportunity to like break away from the terrain. It doesn't look like it, but I break away from the terrain pretty high, I
Gain
feel
some
like,
altitude and then do another one.
and do a spiral. Like I have quite a lot of time, I feel like, to like look at the terrain and be like, oh, hey, there's a tree. Maybe I should like, like
Whip it around. Yeah.
yeah, like whip it around or like slow it down or like finesse where it's gonna go. I have a lot of time to do this, and obviously I know a lot of the lines like the back of my hands. Like I know them better than Jeff Katz told this to me, but better than the freckles on my skin, which I love that analogy. But yeah, it blows me away. Sorry, uh
No, you're
we
good.
hike up all of the mountains, so I get to see the terrain that I fly down, and looking at an outside perspective of the terrain that I fly down, it feels like the terrain is like obviously like through the recovery arc of the roll. I feel like I'm flying like 3 seconds, like 3 seconds of proxy with the ground. And then to see the ground is like at a 90-degree perpendicular to the earth is like, how am I proxy flying that for like 3 seconds? Like I felt like that was like a flat terrain. Like, no, it's not. Like
No.
snow can't even stick to that in the winter. It's
Right.
so mind boggling to see the terrain that I fly down. You're like all of the
It's like
pilots
vert.
that
Yeah.
yeah, it's insane to see the outside perspective. And I wish we got my buddy sold his camera, and I'm so mad because now that I'm finally like, you know, flying all of the, fun stuff. Not that I haven't been, but just flying all of the sick stuff is he sold his sick camera, and now we can't film outside perspective from all of these sick lines. It's
Yeah.
just rough whenever you're hiking up them to time it, you know,
It's
or
hard.
find an alternative launch or whatever.
Right. Right. Are you talking like follow cam with a good camera helmet and like a camera? Or are you talking someone like on the ground with a tripod?
No, I'm definitely trying to get. I have a skydiving helmet, so I'm trying to get a nice follow cam
Yeah.
uh, that I can use. But I'm talking like whenever I was in Europe, we made a film called Lessons Learned,
I
and
love that film, by the way. It's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
my
fantastic.
buddy, it was like his brainchild. He was like Chris Fury, one of the other pilots in the film, the one that
Also,
did like
badass name for a speed pilot. Like, what the
right,
hell?
and
And
he
it's like,
flies a Fury.
I mean, it's like
He
I
did
was like,
like
did he invent that wing? Like, why is it? Why does he have the same name? I don't know him. I'm like, what? Why is this dude
it
like?
is
Is the wing like his brainchild? Like, what's going on here? So
yeah.
continue. I'm sorry, I had to throw that in there. I'm like,
No, 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 no. I totally agree. Like I didn't have his last name in my phone, but whenever he could jump on the Fury, I put his last name, and now it's just literally Fury. It's spelled his last name different, but
it
uh,
sounds the same. It's
it
all
was
it's
like his brainchild, and yeah, it was such a sick. He had a long lens that was so sick that I wish we could use in the Wasatch, but maybe I'll invest. I got a nice office gig now, so I can
invest in money.
put a little more money into my passions and stuff like that. I got a quiver of skis. I got a quiver of wings.
It's perfect.
Spear lines for sale. Speed Vector discount code still.
Discount code 6.9% off. Vic approves.
Yeah.
No, dude. So I love like the snap rolls. Like I like how they look. Like it looks cool. But dude, there's something about like a drawn out roll where like you're inverted for like what seems like forever, but it's probably only like a second or a half second, and then
Yeah.
you whip it through. Those are my favorite freaking rolls to see because I'm like, dude. But obviously, you have to have some altitude and like the terrain for it. Like it's got to be steeper than hell, like you said, because you are pointing at the ground and you're facing the wrong way. So it's kind of like a you know it's a bit committing,
It's sick.
right?
It's sick to play chicken. And like a lot of the wings that I fly, you got to play chicken, bro. Like,
Yeah, that's how you get in it.
yeah, like it's yeah, exactly. It's like if you want to do it, you can't like whip the roll around high or you're going to come out high. You got to play chicken and point it at the ground, or you're going to have to do like the tight rolls, which I'm not a fan of. I think
Sure.
there's less margin. I like to break away, which means whenever I'm coming back down, I have to play just as long of chicken, which is
Right.
like
Yeah, you got to hold it, but at least
intimidating,
you're in a position to where you could make a move to get out of it,
for sure. And I
Yeah,
have the option to like whip it around when I need to.
sure. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people miss, and myself included when I was first getting into this sport, is like in order to stay in steep terrain like that, you have to not only be rolling, but you also have to ride the energy wave. Like, because you're not, it looks like you're just initiating a roll out of nothing, but you actually have built quite a bit of energy, and then
Mhm.
you're just sustaining the energy by continuing to do rolls. Like, it looks to me that you're never like fully letting the wings cycle and slow down. You're just like riding the wave of the energy all the way down. And that's how you stay in it, like you said, especially in steep stuff. Because otherwise you're gonna be like 1,000 feet above and like flying
Yeah,
away.
for sure. And
So
there's definitely flights like I've millions of times, maybe not millions, but dozens and dozens and dozens, more than dozens.
thousands, I'm sure.
I've broken away from terrain, didn't have the right terrain underneath me that I wanted or I liked, or maybe set up for a left and didn't really have the time to sight picture the right because the right was going to work better. And then I lost my energy. Now I just have to like, duh, duh, okay, now I can spiral back down. Like
Yeah.
the reset essentially of like
You got to
deal with
build
the
it
build
back
up
up.
and then build back up the energy and then spiral back down. Yeah. So like there's
How does the
definitely
Oh, sorry, go on.
thousands of times that's happened. Sorry,
For sure.
continue.
No, it's okay. I didn't mean to cut you off, but how does the Fury feel on rears? Does it feel like pretty responsive, and like does it give you the warm and fuzzies when you're flying on rears of that
Yeah,
thing? Because you
yeah.
fly on rears almost exclusively, I think, from what I've seen
Exclusively.
on the Fury.
Yeah, so this gets into like a way higher level thing, and we can definitely deep dive, but it just depends on how much you want to nerd out. And I am not a geek, or like I'm not a scientist, so I don't know. But in my opinion, I feel like, and I know this for a fact, but all of the wings are designed differently. And some
For sure.
wings are designed with different weight across the chord. The R3X has a lot of weight distributed across the chord, which is like the width of the wing if you go like from the nose to the trailing edge,
Mhm.
which makes the rears pretty heavy, but it also gives it a lot of stability throughout the phases of flights. Uh, some of other wings, like the mustache, have all of the weight, you can put on the A's or towards the front of the wing, not necessarily essentially on the A's, but it's distributed more towards the front of the wing.
That's why they're so
Uh,
fast. Yep.
exactly. And then, like, if you touch the brakes at all, you're going to disrupt that. I don't want to say reflex profile because that's not the right word. If you have all of the weight on the A's and then you have a little bit of weight on the trailing edge, the middle of the wing is going to start going slacked, which is
Mhm.
not great, right?
Right.
So for some other wings like the Fury, I'm not sure if you've ever had the opportunity to kite a Fury, but the
Not yet.
Fury, the rear risers are super slacked,
Hmm.
which is a benefit in some situations. But in my opinion, and I'm not a scientist, and I really hate to say this, but you should be flying it on rears as much as possible because you're going to disrupt, like you're going to make those more slacked essentially. So
If if
I
you're
think
flying on
having
rears, you
no,
or
if
on
you're on
brakes.
brakes,
If you're on
if we're
brakes.
flying on brakes, yeah.
Right. No, it's
Sorry
okay.
for
I'm
my
just
being
clarifying.
descriptive.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I hate to like even bring this up because I don't know these things for fact, but it's like the same thing as a paraglider. You mash speed bar, you got majority of the weight towards the front of the wing. It's less distributed on the back of the wing. They tell you don't touch the toggles because it's going to make the wing unstable.
Mhm.
Not because it has a reflex profile or anything like that, but because you're making the center of the wing go slack essentially, or like
Mhm.
have less pressure in it.
Sure.
So I think in speed wings, there's some wings that are designed to be flown on brakes or really, really enjoy the way that they feel on brakes. And then there's other wings, and I'm pretty sure Level Wings has even said this, that it's kind of meant to, it has that Level Wings touch on the rears. Like maybe Level Wings hasn't said that, but a pilot that I knew maybe one time said that the Fury is like a dream on the rears, and I totally agree with that. That's the
Sure.
way I like to fly it. It feels the most intuitive. And then I also believe like if you're flying an airplane, uh, ailerons are like pitching the wing up and down, and then flaps are like slowing the wing down.
Right.
So in my mind, flaps are brakes and ailerons are rears. So
Well,
why
for
would
sure.
I?
For sure.
Yeah, yeah. So I think you think exactly the same way as I do.
Well,
Why would I slow the wing down whenever I'm trying to just make rolling
yeah.
noise?
Well, it's aerodynamics 101. Like you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that like when you introduce more surface area into the relative wind, you're going to slow down. When you
Yeah,
pull on
yeah,
your brakes, you're contorting the wing more. So you're folding that trailing edge of the wing over the back, and it's literally creating like a speed bump that's catching wind and slowing, like physically slowing you down. So you're going to get a snappier turn out of it because it's like dramatic, right? So
yeah.
how do speed wings, how do parachutes work? You slow down the side that you want to turn to. So if you pull the right brake or you pull the right,
You're
you
creating
know,
like a low
rear
pressure that you're
riser,
turning towards.
yeah, like the faster wingtip is going to keep flying the same speed and the slower wingtip's going to slow down. So if you pull the right brake, now your left wingtip is flying faster than your right, and it turns you to the right because that left wingtip is still going the same speed, but with the drag introduced, it's like really nerdy, right? But
Yeah,
that's how it works. So when you fly on rears, you're not contorting the wing in the same way. You're still contorting it because it's doing something, but it's like you're retaining more energy throughout the cycle of the turn or the maneuver than you would be if you did it on brakes. Now, with that being said, there is a time and place to be flying on brakes versus rears. Obviously, read your owner's manual, but
yeah,
like there is a time play, and like you said too, there are some wings that are just better on brakes and some wings that are better on rears, and it's kind of hard to find sometimes. I think you kind of have to talk to people like you, like with the Fury, like you have a lot of experience with it. How do you feel on rears? Well, you just told me like it feels way better on rears, and here's why. That makes total sense to me. Having never flown the wing, whenever I get the opportunity to, I'm going to be flying on rears because it makes
yeah,
sense. You know?
yeah. I would still definitely like obviously within safe margin, not like shredding a line whenever you're trying new things, trying elsewhere. But I still think flying a wing in every characteristic is a great benefit to understanding like if you ever have to snap the toggles or if you ever have to do something. Like I even recommend taking a front reserve and like doing a spiral out as open away from terrain as possible and snapping the toggles if you fly rears a lot, like doing spiral and snapping the toggles or like pulling down your rears to like essentially where if you're flying a small wing, you should know where your stall point is. So like where your stall point is and seeing how the wing reacts. And hopefully you don't need the reserve, but you have it just in case. But that way, whenever something, God forbid happens, you know what your wing is going to do whenever you do certain inputs that are drastic or that you haven't necessarily tried in a deep couloir yet or
Yeah.
in other terrain situations.
Is that something that you practice on the ground with ground handling on like high wind days? Can you get it to buffer, like to basically stall on your rears just like at the point? Is that something that you can achieve? Or it's hard to do without it fully loaded, but
You can definitely like play with all of like, and that's the best way to feel where your stall characteristics are. Like, this is what the wing feels like whenever it's going to stall. This is what it will do whenever it reinflates. Like, these are some
right.
of the, and obviously you can kind of like think about whenever it's more loaded, more highly energized. But like, I've never had the opportunity to test out of a full spiral or maybe two spirals what my wing will do. Like, will it explode? Like, I have no idea. Like,
Well,
I,
I mean,
I honestly have no idea.
you're flying way faster at that point than you would be
Yeah,
in
yeah,
straight and level like normal flight. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it is a good question, right? Like, and everything that would happen,
Maybe I'm
ground
just gonna
handling on
be
the
like a
ground is more
Utah party
pronounced,
till impact. I
right?
think that's my goal. Is like, and no, I could never live up to that man. He's such an inspiration. But I just love testing things and seeing the limitations and trying new things and like why wasn't that tried or like what was the reason for this or like I think that's the best way that a pilot can learn and fully understand his equipment is to just like ask as many questions as possible and just try things and like can I
Yeah,
do that? No,
right.
you
Yeah, I mean,
can't. That was a
asking.
dumb idea.
Sure. Well, I mean, and there's only one way to find out. But yeah, I mean, if you have the ability to ask people that know what they're talking about, it's super helpful. Like, I mean, it's super helpful. Like, I feel I'd have to go look on Level Wings website, but I feel like if you went on their website and you went to the Fury, it would probably say something about how it likes to fly on rears. But like to
I
hear it from
can't
you,
speak in.
like,
Yeah.
well, no, I'm just saying, like,
I
it
know,
may
I
or
know.
may not say like, yeah, it likes rears, But I mean, but then I
Doesn't
don't know.
really matter.
It right, but you can also fly them on toggles with the trim closed or open. Like you don't have to do that stuff. Like you can totally safely fly on brakes if that's how you like to fly. I know a lot of people do. Nothing wrong with it. But if you want to maximize your wing and it likes to fly on rears, then fly on rears. I mean, if you're ready for it, obviously baby steps, do it up high. Don't
This
fall.
became
But
a very big
just be careful.
like intro to speed flying.
Yeah, just be careful. This is
Here's
this
how
is
to
this
fly on
podcast
rears
is
and have a
22,
downsize.
right? Yeah. Don't ever downsize. Don't touch your ears. No, just do it right. That's all I'm saying. Like I feel like I've caught myself a couple times just tonight, like being like, yeah, like this is awesome, and then just being like, oh shoot, you know what? I need to caveat this because someone's gonna take this out of context
Yeah,
and they're gonna make some mistakes. So that's not what I'm trying to say. But what you said was perfect. Like, know your wing, ask questions from people that have a lot more experience than you flying that wing, and just hammer the fundamentals. The rolls that you're doing in tight couloirs will come if you do it right and continue
that's
doing what
what has
it's a
been
process.
fantastic. That's what's been fantastic about Utah is just the community that's there. Is like everyone's asking questions, everyone wants to learn, everyone is eager to promote the flying. Obviously, there's some bad actors, but we try and bring them up and teach them the right ways and show them better decision making. And yeah, it's been fantastic. I love it so much. It's
Yeah,
like
dude.
it's like a dream. Like my mom, she used to be like, I hope this is like a, I'm not sure, not facade, but
A
like a
phase.
word for like a fade. Yeah, maybe.
No.
I was maybe thinking of something more elegant. But a phase, yeah, sorry. Um, and I was like, no, mom, this is like, I love this, every aspect of this, the community, the fact that I can do it in any conditions, the fact that I have like a range of, it complements other activities. I can travel with it. I don't have to like bring a skydiving rig, which sucks because like TSA hates me for that. I could just pack my speedwing. Nobody cares about that.
Nobody cares. Yeah, I have some TSA stories with my rig, with my skydiving rig that you would just cringe. I mean, dude, I'm like, bro, it's a free. You've never seen a skydiving rig before? Like, come on. But yeah, it's a lot easier to travel for sure. So I'm curious. Like, you said you hike all the lines and stuff, obviously, because you don't have lift access there. You were just in Europe at the Acro show, and you mentioned the other day that like it made you miss home because you like it's so similar and you love Utah and you love flying there, but was it did you feel like it was an added benefit for you to get like more laps because you didn't have to hike up the mountain every time you were flying, or is it a benefit to like have to hike it? You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, interesting that you asked this because I'm still questioning this myself, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts. But like the Acro show totally revitalized me. I was kind of getting like, okay, it's time for me to go home. I miss my routine. I miss my dog. I miss my friends. The Acro show was like a total revitalization. It was so fun to see all of the friends that I had met over the course of the experience, you know? Um, and then like we all kind of met back, or not met back up, but like obviously it was a pretty big event in the area, so everyone eventually met there. Kind of the way that I feel about the hiking situation is it's, and I don't know if it's a hot take or the right take, I'm really not sure, but I feel like none of those flights, like I did so many flights, like an ungodly amount of flights compared to my, routine. Like it wasn't an absurd amount of flights because I've been to Europe before, but it was not my normal amount of flights. Like I did more flights in 2 weeks than I did in 2 months in Utah,
Wow.
which sucks. But at the same time, I obsess about my flights in Utah, and I like really nitpick all of the stuff that I do. I feel like more meticulous about my flying. I don't necessarily go outside of my box, which is a bad thing. Uh, as opposed to in Europe, it was like I was deleting space on my camera because I just these were flights that I just really didn't care about. It was like, and they're all on my like 7 meter flame. Like it wasn't like throwaway flights. It wasn't like I wasn't, focused, dialed in, cracking rolls low to the ground through, trees and whatever, and trying to hit all of the fun little gates or practicing the line or doing whatever. But it was like I'd done it 25 times. Like, what was another five,
Right.
So I feel like there's a really interesting dynamic there of like, I really nitpick my flying and really like, I feel like yeah, I would say maybe like for the earlier progressions, having and Southside is the perfect example of this, where you want a whole bunch of like launches and landings and launches and landings and launches and landings to like dial in those things. I feel like for me, like now where I really just want to like fine tune my flying and just not necessarily have like these big major impactful steps. I don't necessarily need to fly 25 times a day. Like I'm pretty stoked on two. Like it makes me super happy. I go to bed happy whenever I've flown like twice a week, which I rarely ever do unless conditions are bad, but my perspective on flying is super different now. So definitely curious to hear like your thoughts on hiking every day and lift laps every day. And like if there's a progression difference, like why I feel like the pilots in Utah are just as good as some of the pilots. And I know that obviously there's a plateau, like we can't get any better than the stuff we do, but then obviously the pilots in Europe get to try some sick stuff, some really sick stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so I respect everything you just said. I think it's pretty cool. That's an awesome perspective. And I agree. I think I don't know, for me it's like, so I haven't been to Europe. I've been to Europe, but I haven't been to Europe to fly. Which I'm hoping I get to do in the next like year or so. It's kind of the goal. I romanticize the idea of being able to do 25 laps in a day, taking a gondola or a tram or a chair lift, whatever, up. Like, I think that's cool. Um,
I was
it,
taking naps after 9. I'm
well,
smoked.
I was gonna say like that's.
My
I think
body's not cut out for it.
the most I've ever done in a day, I think, is 15, and I think it was like 10 hike laps and 5 shuttles. And
It
I
was
was,
a mental thing for me, by the way, when I
dude.
got tired. It was
Oh,
never a physical thing.
well, no, and I'm I agree. So like you're like you only have so much span like people do in like a day to be that hyper focused. And even if it's routine, like even if you have thousands of speed flights, you're still getting an adrenaline spike, and then you're coming off of that. Like whether you realize it or not, it's just not as pronounced, right? Like the first time you fly a speed wing or the first time you jump out of an airplane, it's complete sensory overload. Maybe not in the speed flying world, it shouldn't be sensory overload, but let's just use skydiving for example. It's totally sensory overload and you're exhausted afterward, but you didn't do anything. You're just strapped to somebody. Obviously the more you do something, the wider your like vision gets and like the less sensory overload you experience, you see more things. It's the same thing with speed flying, except even at the highest level, like, where you're at, where other folks are at, it's still taking a toll on you because you're still having the spike of adrenaline and you're coming down off of that every single time because you're doing something dangerous. Like, even if you're really good at it, even if you know the conditions are perfect, you're weighing like the back of your hand or better, the line you're flying, you're still putting yourself in an environment that, humans may or may not be, but that we might not belong in, right? We're not birds. It's not like walking for us. It's like you're in the air. There's consequence potentially. So I get that getting tired. What I want to say about the hiking thing is I actually prefer to hike, even if I'm doing 10 laps in a day at the flight park, because it's a 600 vert hike, or you can go all the way to 2,000, but typically I go to 600 feet, and I am paying attention to the conditions the entire time, whether I'm actively thinking about it or not. I feel like there's a disconnect when I get on the shuttle and I take the shuttle up, like the 5 minute ride up or whatever, from like the
Yeah.
LZ back to the launch. And in that period of time, I like feel the come down of that adrenaline spike, even if it wasn't an adrenaline flight. Like even if I wasn't doing anything outrageous or different or
Yeah.
wasn't trying something
Flying
new,
is
like
flying.
like it wasn't overstimulating, but I was still stimulated. And that little bit of time in the van kind of snaps me out of the headspace. And then when I get to the launch, I then have to reset. And I don't like that. Like, I don't like that feeling of having to like recheck in to make sure that like I'm not gonna screw something up, like simple, like with my harness, with my wing, or with my launch. But if I hike, especially if I'm alone, I feel like I stay locked in, and that then leads to just being at the same kind of mental space that I need to be at to fly safely, that like I know I need to be at, if that makes sense. So I really like I also like the fitness, I like to like feel like I accomplished something, and not saying that you don't accomplish anything by taking the chair up or taking the shuttle van, but there is something to be said about like hiking the line. So I don't know. I haven't flown in Europe, so I don't know. You could be paying attention to the conditions riding the chair up, I mean, it's different than sitting in like a bus or a van, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would say can't really comment on their day to day because I was there for more than a month, but uh, they definitely are very considerate about like conditions.
Of
Also, a
course.
little bit yeehaw about conditions, and it was like
Were you in
same way
France?
as yeah, France and Switzerland,
Mm,
but like same way that we at Southside or at Airport Ridge can just lap and be like, last one was a little bumpy. They're doing like 30-minute laps or whatever, less than that. So they can definitely be like, I can squeeze in another one
yeah,
essentially. And they do
they've got
that
the
for
window.
sure. There's optimistic pilots. I was getting my taste of like flying in the drizzles and like going up on launch whenever I didn't think it was going to be good, knowing that I could just take the lift down. And sometimes it was good, so I got to fly in some like interesting conditions that I don't usually get to fly in, like
That's cool.
foggy conditions essentially. Because like in Utah, I'm not going to hike down these things. I know it's good for me. I know I should be doing it, but man, I'm not cut out for that. Like that's not that's
It's a
not me.
long
I don't
walk.
like to hike unless I can fly. Like that's just I'm going to be honest. I love that my friends go out and do like some sick ridge scrambles. It's rough for me. I've been hurt quite a bit now, and it's unfortunate, but flying is really not impactful until it's like really freaking impactful.
Really
So
impactful. Yeah.
yeah,
It's either
like
like zero impact or like all the impact.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Which I
so
would say
true,
is
dude.
no skiing. You can definitely have ranging because like you're on your feet, but yeah, you can feel like you're flying on skis sometimes.
Like, skiing can be pretty easy on the legs, but it can be very impactful too. It's just, there's a spectrum, I think. You can have little hits in skiing, but I feel like in speed flying, it's like pretty hard to have little hits. It's either like, you're bruised at least, or like you're broken or worse. So, but it is in theory like a zero impact sport as long as you don't impact anything. So,
Yeah, I mean you can definitely like scuff in a landing like on your bum or whatever, but it's
yeah.
definitely like you know you want to. You usually end up as you learned, twisting an ankle, tweaking it, breaking it, whatever it may be. Which I know you broke yours, but it's unfortunate. Like, because that's usually just how it happens. Is you like it's at the end of the landing or whatever, and just like tweaks it and just oh no,
Yeah, it'll change the next 3 months or so, your life,
yeah,
6 months,
yeah,
whatever. I mean, yeah, it doesn't take much, that's for sure. But I mean, that's the human body, dude. It's resilient to a point, but when you cross the line, you cross the line and you learn. So, I mean, but we all know what we sign up for when we launch. Like, we all know what could happen, what has happened, what does happen. Like, it's just kind of a part of the game, but you can do it safely. Like, it doesn't have to be to me, it's not a gamble, right? Like, when I am flying, it's not like, oh, I don't know how this is gonna go. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do, like, I don't put myself in that situation. You easily could, right? But like, for the
yeah.
most part, I feel like I'm pretty calculated. I feel like most of us are, because if you're not, then you're not gonna be in the sport for very long, because you're not gonna make it. Like, you either
The
get
only
hurt
time I
quick.
feel like that
Oh, go on.
is shopping. Is like whenever you're trying to be optimistic about conditions. It's like I think the conditions are good, but I'm not super sure. And like, I don't like that feeling. So like, it's nice to stay away from that and try and be like super like never feel like you're gambling, like you said.
Yeah. Fly today so that you can fly tomorrow, or don't fly today so you can actually fly tomorrow. I think that's a good rule of thumb with these sports for sure, especially this one. Because the consequences can be pretty grave, and it's more fun to be healthy and get to do the thing that you love than be on the couch. So, or worse, right? So yeah, I agree. Man, I'm so glad that we got back on here and got to talk longer, because I feel like the first iteration wasn't long enough, and now I think we have a more complete picture of who Ronan Campos is, which is cool. It's getting late there. It's kind of getting late here, so it's really getting late there. Is there anything that you want to say? Anything we haven't covered? Anything? I mean, we can do this again too another time for sure.
I'm super flexible, man. If you got any other questions, I'm happy to run through them. But if you're, like you said, like I'm super flexible. It's
Cool.
10:30 here, so I definitely jump at some point. But I probably got a little bit of time, unless you're crushing off.
I got hungry dogs, and I'm hungry.
No worries,
so,
bro.
Yeah,
we can
man.
definitely do another iteration of this. At least we have a little bit more of the picture, like you said. I appreciate reaching out on such late notice. That's kind of rad that you're trying to get something for your listeners. So I appreciate it. This is sick.
Doing it for the people, man. Yeah, and I definitely want to have you on again for like future episodes. I want to dive more into the like nerd science and stuff, and hear more about what you're doing. And something I do want to ask you before we end this episode here is what do you want to do with speed flying? Like what's your future like 10-year goal, if you got one, or whatever number, whatever year? Like what's your goal? What are your goals?
My mom asked me this, so it's a good question. And I hate to use my mom, but I am 22, so she is, she's my mom, bro. I love my mom.
Dude, I'm 33 and I'm super tight with my mom, so like, believe me, never stop loving your mom.
I know. She's also helped me out a lot through everything. She's been so fantastic. Shout out to my mom. She probably will never listen to this because she's anti-speed flying, anti-nylon, anti-Ronan doing reckless activities. Maybe that should be my new name. Ronan being reckless.
Dude, honestly. But yeah, this is the number one speed fly podcast in the world. You got to send it to your mom. I mean, come on, man.
I will for sure. But yeah, I would say my goal, I really am obsessed about, like, I obviously love flying, but I love understanding the wings that I fly. And if I can, I've been trying for the past 6 months to figure out like steps to learn how to design wings a little better, and like not just like be goofing off with like, the resources that I have now. But I would definitely want to like design wings, and then obviously test wings. I love that aspect about, I mentioned party till impact. I love that aspect about like testing the wings, seeing what they're capable of, putting them to their limits, like honestly making a wing explode, like not explode in the fire sense, but like blowing up the seams until like literally putting it to its paces. I think that stuff is fascinating. I think the way that they certify wings is fascinating. Like pulling it behind a truck, like that's wild. That's insane. That's blows my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely just want to dive in head first to like designing my own wings, and maybe not my own wings, but improving wings. I don't know. It's not a refined idea. I can use advice, like if somebody has a better idea, but I want to improve the wings that are already out there on the market. Some wings are simple. They just need a little bit of modification. Maybe a riser that benefits the pilot better, or like their preferences more. Like, yeah, like it's pretty simple. A lot of the wings are designed according to the team pilot specifications or the manufacturer's specifications, but with a little bit of fine tuning, you can do a lot of things. So I think it's pretty fascinating, and I have no knowledge of how to do it. So that's the goal, is to get knowledge.
Well,
I do it, but I don't have the knowledge. I'm still learning.
You seem like a smart dude, and you got your whole life ahead of you. I'm sure if there is a spot in this world for you to do it, you'll do it. And honestly, like, the sport is in its infancy. I mean, it's only been around for, less than 20 years. I mean, honestly, and like the technology and the wings has exploded in the last 5 years, to the point where I'm so excited to see where the tech goes, like in the next 10 years. I mean,
a lot of the things I've realized is like it's all like coming from paragliding. Like a lot of the design things that they're adding to speed wings or some of the bigger wings that we use on a daily basis are all like coming from other, wings and other design
Right.
phases. And obviously paragliding has a lot more money behind it. So they, do a lot more R&D on that side. But
Sure.
yeah.
And I mean, yeah, with the rising popularity, exploding popularity of this sport, the R&D is going to catch up. The money's
Hmm.
coming in, the R&D is going to catch up. The manufacturers are going to change things. Like the sky's the limit, or maybe the ground. The ground is the limit, I think. But either way, it's a little pun for you, I
The
think. Uh,
atmosphere.
but yeah, man, dude, you got a bright future ahead of you, and I'm super stoked that we've connected, and I feel like definitely got some flying to do together in the future. And we come out to Utah. Maybe I'll hitch a ride to Europe with you guys or something. I don't know. We'll see. But definitely a future friendship for sure. And I'm excited to see where you take the sport, man. It's pretty cool.
Appreciate your time, bro. I
Yeah, dude.
totally resonate with everything you said. So looking forward to flying with you sometime. But thank you for the part 2 of podcast.
For sure. Part 2, episode 14. We had to do it
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
Congrats on
For
so many
sure.
episodes, by the way. That's baller. I didn't
Dude,
realize.
churn them out, bro. I'm
Yeah.
almost at 1,000 downloads. We're getting close. I'm like gonna have a little celebration when we hit 1,000, which is
Let
like,
me know. Obviously, hopefully you'll post it. Yeah. Hopefully we can
oh,
celebrate.
for sure, dude. For sure. Well, thanks so much, Ronan, man. We will talk soon, and I'll have you on again. Absolutely.
Ciao. Tell
Sweet.
the dogs to enjoy their food, bro. I miss my dog. That's the biggest thing I miss.
Dude, they're hungry, man. I got 4 back there, and they're
Yeah.
like, bro, it's past dinner time. I should have fed them
Yeah.
before. It's on me. But,
Do your thing, bro. Ciao.
yeah. Sweet. See ya.